How's it going, everybody? I'm Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are back with Adventures in Middle-earth, Eriador Adventures, and we are joined by all of our players today. And yeah, they are continuing their adventures along the Greenway, making their way from Rivendell all the way to the very basically most western part of the entire continent of Middle-earth, to the Grey Havens, to go speak with Círdan the Shipwright. But yeah, we're not going to do anything other than just have our players introduce themselves. So let's go ahead and start off with Dane.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dane, or Forge here at Fantasy Forge Studios. I play the character Valinith, son of Morbith. He is a high elf of Rivendell. He is a scholar class, which is like the most Healy class that you can have in AME. Even though it's D&D 5e, all the classes are different. So, yeah, so he uses a longbow, or is it a longbow? He uses a bow. He uses his father's bow from the Last Alliance, and then he recently got proficiency with broadswords as well. So he's got an elven broadsword that he could use. And aside from that, he's pretty cool. He's very jovial. He's not a Tolkien film elf from like from the movies where they're all dour and sad. He's a Tolkien book elf where he he doesn't sing necessarily, but he's jovial. And he's got a good outlook on life, I guess. And so he's pretty cool. He's pretty nice. He likes to huzzah a lot. He doesn't have any patience for musty, disgusting, dilapidated rooms that they stay in. It's good stuff.
Room 6.
Room 6. He is a man of fine taste. Or sorry, an elf of fine taste. So.
All right. And before we move on to Cole, I have to say one thing, and I have to point this out. Catholic Brit has sat through 100 streams in a row without missing a single one. Congratulations. That's freaking crazy.
Applause.
Absolute congratulations. I know
I barely sat through Everlast last week, so that's impressive.
she came so close, like back like last summer. Like she had to stop around like, I don't know if it was 80s or early 90s, but like, man, thank you so much for the dedication. Big congrats. That's amazing. And yeah, that's more than I have. I can't say that I've actually seen every single stream for 100 streams, and I actually stream on this channel. So take that with what you do with that what you will. But anyways, our next character is going to be Círdan.
Hey, I'm Cole, and I play Círdan, son of Durafin of the Westmark. Actually, that's not true. He's a Dunedain of Numenorian descent. Oh, guys, I can't find my chat. Where'd it go?
Your chat? Oh,
yeah,
on
on Twitch. It's somewhere.
Is it off to the side? Did it get collapsed?
It did, but I don't know. I don't see where.
There's an arrow at the top right.
I'm not seeing it. Anyway, it's fine. I'll figure it out. And Círdan's cool. He's one of the higher up rangers at this point in time before Aragorn becomes Aragorn. Yeah, he's really good at navigating them woods and them territories. Yeah, where the wild things are. And yeah, perceptive dude. Fights with 2 swords, sword and a dagger, whatever you want to. Also a bow. He's pretty good. That's him.
very DPS.
Coming clutch.
Sure.
Yeah, he's coming clutch in Eriador, being the class that he is.
It's
True.
Helping us travel through all the
No,
places.
I'd be
without-
less helpful in Wilderland, but
Still pretty good.
Yeah, it's called Eriador Adventures, so I think you're good.
I know. So we're cooking with gas.
I do have a quick question about Círdan, though. What is
Yeah.
the furthest west region that he has? Is he familiar with like the Linden area and like by the sea? So do you lose your bonuses once you get over there?
Yeah, I think once I'm past the Shire, actually maybe once I'm past Bree.
Yeah, so I think he's like the Fornost region and like the North Downs, like here in the Leather Hills. Like I know like you're pretty familiar with the like troll shaws and the cold fells and stuff. I know you're pretty familiar with. Yeah.
Like I've been on the outskirts of the Shire, but hold on, I have it written down. In my
That is
notes.
actually something great to bring up as players, and so I'm really curious, like when you guys go on the Greenway through the Shire, like how you guys are going to interact, because hobbits aren't used to seeing people. Even just like the dwarves that travel like on the Greenway from like the Blue Mountains, like that's like an oddity. Like there's a big stir if people are walking the Greenway, and so like I'm curious to see. Like,
it's
an
okay
elf and
because
3 men walking through. Actually, technically 5 men with the 2 that you're traveling with.
But the thing is, Theodric and Valinith have been in a party with a Sackville Baggins, and so
That's true.
you know we can name drop.
We're experts.
Don't worry about
We're
mentioning
Hobbit
the Great
experts.
Dragon. It's just like, oh yeah, the Bagginses, I know them. The Sackville Bagginses.
They're like, ooh,
Um,
the Sackville Baggins.
These are my known lands: Angmar, the Lonelands, the Trollshaws, the North Downs, Weathered Hills, and the Cold Fells.
So basically, like everything in this region is like
Yeah.
your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So like once like Bree is probably like the furthest west that takes me, because I'm assuming that like because Fornost is the North Downs,
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, this is
and that's like
considered
just north of Bree. So I feel like I would like still be kind of familiar with Bree, but like even like the South Downs, I'm not even really familiar with.
Mhm.
So there you go.
There you have it.
Actually, yeah.
Crazy. And our next character, sorry for having you wait so long, but played by Australian.
Hey everybody, I'm that Tubby Australian. As you can see, I have survived Tropical Cyclone Alfred, and I'm back. I play Theodric Grimborn. He is our 18-year-old Slayer of Rohan, well, from Rohan, not Slayer of Rohan. As a Slayer, he is essentially the barbarian equivalent. However, thanks to the handy-dandy rules of AME, I can wear heavy armor and get all the bonuses and wonderful perks of that.
Oh, do you
So-
finally get that after leveling up? Is that like one of your things that you got?
Oh, I got that last level. I just haven't gotten heavy armor yet.
There you
But I have a perk that lets me get all of my bonuses from my rage without any of the penalties from wearing heavy armor. So I can wear heavy armor and have my great shield and rage, and essentially become unstoppable. At least health and AC wise.
Have we done battle
Um,
with Theodric on our side yet?
No, we did all the
Uh,
sneaking around.
Yep.
Was it the Broadcleave?
I'm like, I don't
It's
think
been
I've seen
very
you
stealth.
rage. Yeah.
It's been very stealth, so Theodric hasn't had his chance to shine because he's got -2 to stealth. But we're managing. We're managing.
Same with Caleb here. Caleb had to take off his
Yeah.
heavy armor.
Yeah, I had to leave my shield with Barada off. But yeah, so I'm a very tanky frontline fighter. So far the sneakiness hasn't really given him a chance to show that yet. But he's happy to be here in Wilderland. No, not Wilderland.
Eriador.
Eriador. Just kind of like helping Valinith and the bros out and trying to discover why he could please stop having visions and weird creepy dreams, please. They're kind of useful, but you know, they've got to wear on a guy eventually.
That's true.
You're the
Enough
prophecy.
nights in
You're
a row
part of it.
them. That's why Rivendell's
Oh, yeah.
so good, because you don't get dreams in Rivendell. It's just like, I really need a nap. Can we go back to Rivendell? Oh.
Yeah,
But,
but no, yeah. Theodric's our Slayer is just kind of plodding along. Now we've got this new prophecy from the rock at what was it called? It wasn't a rock. It was like a.
It was like the
it was a big rock.
Stone.
it was a big old rock.
Yeah.
But yeah, that prophecy that essentially pretty much name drops all of us. So
Yeah.
he's kind
You
of
are-
he's
I
kind
wrote
of
it down.
invested now.
Yeah, you are the protege of Malbith the Seer.
Yeah, that's the one, Melbith the Seer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
since
go.
he kind of name dropped all of us, Theodric's invested now.
There's no turning back. There is turning
There's
back.
no
but-
turning. Well, there is turning back, but it's not in Theodric's nature.
I will
not to
point-
leave Valorant and the guys hanging.
I will point out, speaking of talking about like the Slayer, back, oh man, when we first started Wilderland Adventure, what was that, like 2 years ago? There was actually some Reddit post that I was looking at from back in 2019, like at the twilight years of the Adventures of Middle Earth before they came out with Lord of the Rings role playing, and they ranked all of like the base classes, and the Slayer was consistently ranked the number one of all of the classes, mostly because of the fact that they're tanks, and specifically the foe hammer one because of like all of the buffs, because they're like an offensive tank. And yeah, I guess it was pretty strong, which they pretty much neutered in the newest edition of the Lord of the Rings role playing. The Slayer is very much not that anymore, and so you got the buffed version of it. But yeah, I think both Cole's character and Calefear have the bonuses from the Lord of the Rings role playing, and so yeah, it's kind of interesting. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's an aside thing. But the last character is the DMPC, which is Calefear. He is the captain of the Silver Swan Court in Dol Amroth. He is a man of Gondor who is also a sailor. He chased the Kathu Phasgan, which is a black Numenorian ship, up kind of the western coast of Middle-earth, and he got stranded in Eriador. And the only survivors of his ship got killed by Captain Mormog, the evil orc, I guess Ulug High war leader that from Mordor that is up there. They either got butchered and killed there, or died in the crash landing of this hurricane tempest that marooned them. And so he is returning Frothian and Arfanath, the two survivors of his company, to Dol Amroth by way of the Grey Havens, and hiring a ship to take them back down there. But currently, yeah, he is a captain class, which, as I mentioned, it's kind of a newer class. It's like a fighter tank, kind of. So he's got like action surge and like everything, but all of his stuff is like party buffing, and so like everything that he uses is like charisma based and everything like that, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I think he's seen a couple of combats similar to Theodric, but yeah, we'll see what this adventure entails. The Greenway is pretty safe, so you guys are probably okay unless something crazy happens. But yeah, with that being the case, Dane, do you have anything to add? Any announcements before we jump in?
Yeah, actually, Britt and I have been talking a little bit. Again, Britt, thank you again. Not only are you here for 100 streams, but you also donated to our Everlast TCG Kickstarter today. So you're on a roll. You are in the good graces of Fantasy Forged here. But those of you who are unaware, we actually launched our very first, I guess, official product here at Fantasy Forged Studios, the Everlast trading card game Kickstarter. And so we actually do Everlast as a tabletop RPG. It started off as a tabletop RPG and will still be coming out as a tabletop RPG. However, we've gotten enough arts done by our wonderful artist Karo-chan that we actually can start making trading card game stuff, which is cool. So Kyle and I both are very passionate about card games, and so it's kind of a dream come true that we're actually coming out with a card game in the world of Everlast, which is really cool. But yeah, especially if you like card games and you're into, or you want to learn a new card game, or if you just like really nice art, like super nice art on cards, consider checking it out. I did post the link in the chat, and yeah, there's a bunch of different tiers. I think $50 USD is the minimum for like the minimum tier. But you're still getting discounts based off of what you get. But if you guys also just want to donate, you can also do that any amount from $1 up to $50 as well, or more if you don't want cards. But I recommend getting cards if you do more than $50. Donate to a specific tier. But more than anything, sharing it with people. So again, take that link, share it with friends who may be interested in trading card games. Share it with for example, if you have family members or cousins or friends or anyone who may like it, it's a wonderful birthday gift for them.
Or
just to be able to get
Discord
them
communities too. Like if you're part of like other Discord communities, feel free, like if they allow you to post links, or if you know the people that are in charge of like the Discord, like feel free to share it with that, because the one thing that we've come to find is, especially with building kind of like your own IP, is you don't have brand recognition. And with that being the case, like Fantasy Forge Studios, like you guys are an amazing community. But as far as like spreading something out, like people are gonna look at it like, wow, this is really cool, but I have no idea what it is. And so like the more that you can direct them to places where they can learn about what it is, that's the best thing that you can do to help us out, get the word out. Not necessarily be like, buy this thing, but it's like, hey, check out some of the stuff about Everlast so you can get to know it a little bit more. So, yeah.
So you got Bree. It looks like you got the Explorers here. Oh, nice. So you got the Inquisition deck and the Shaded deck as well. Yeah, the Master Assassin. So the Inquisition, the Master Assassin. Those are cool decks. I was playing with Max on Monday, testing them out before, because we're actually hosting a bunch of local events in Colorado. So those of you who are in Colorado or local or like around Colorado, consider coming out. On our website, we have all those event dates as well as the addresses and locations for those. So feel free to come to those events. But Max and I were testing out the decks, and oh my gosh, they're so fun. They're so fun. But nice. Thank you so much for donating. We really do appreciate it. But yeah, again, and then the other thing is prayers. Again, this is a month-long process. Our goal is 10 grand to fund it, and I believe we're at 25% right now. Already just not even 24 hours into the Kickstarter, and we already have it a quarter funded. But that doesn't mean that you slow down and stop, because we still have $7,500 to go. And the quicker we fund it, actually, the more it gets promoted on the actual Kickstarter website. So if we get it funded really quick within the first week or so, even though it's a month long, then it actually puts it in front of more eyes and more people are willing to donate for it. And you get extra stretch goal rewards as well for like hitting certain tiers. And actually the one that I really want is if we hit $30,000 for the stretch goal, they're custom mana dice for the game, but we were not going to be able to have them if we don't hit that $30,000 stretch goal. So that's something that's really cool, and hopefully we do hit that. But again, if you can't donate financially or support financially, share it with your friends and the Discord communities. Spread the word and prayers. That's the best thing we can have. Kyle, do you have a quick video to play really quick?
I do.
For that?
I have a sneaking suspicion that like it's not going to play any audio, so let me know. But we do have it, and there's technically subtitles, so we can go ahead and try to play it. But
Oh, I got audio.
There's audio, yeah. Blowing out your eardrum.
Welcome to the Everlast trading card game, a competitive strategy game where heroes and villains of Everlast wage war in tactical battlefield combat. Take command of the forces of good in the Heroes of the West expansion, rally the Helix Royal Line, gather fierce warriors, and defend the realm. Will you answer the call of the crown? Or wield the power of darkness in the Raising of Helix expansion, where you can lead Master Assassins, command horrifying beasts, and order legions of orcs, and watch the world of men burn? More than just a card game, the Everlast TCG blends the strategy of competitive trading card games with the immersive tactical feel of tabletop role-playing. Position your warriors, outmaneuver your foes, and strike down their champions before they destroy yours. The game is played on a 5x3 battlefield, where you are free to move your creatures, perform support actions, and make attacks against your opponent until either player loses all 8 life points. This Kickstarter launches with 4 EX battle decks, 2 from Heroes of the West and 2 from the Raising of Helix. Each deck is tournament ready, built for competitive play, but also perfect for teaching beginners the mechanics of the games in an easy-to-use, pre-constructed deck format. Backers may also purchase limited edition first-run booster boxes featuring Kickstarter exclusive packaging, only available in this campaign. Each backer tier includes a random signed holofoil promo card of one of the 6 characters of Eccles Eos, as seen in the Fantasy Forge Studios Everlast role-playing game campaign. Additionally, each backer tier will receive 1 holofoil Archdemon Wraith card and free first edition booster packs, rewards that can only be obtained here on Kickstarter. By supporting this campaign, you'll be among the first to experience the Everlast TCG at the lowest price it will ever be offered. Created by TCG gamers and tabletop RPG players, the Everlast TCG is built with strategy, storytelling, and epic fantasy at its heart. Support this Kickstarter today and forge your place in the world of Everlast. The battle begins now. Visit the Fantasy Forge Studios website for printable rules, free print and play decks, and deck spotlight videos, and explore more Everlast trading card game guides whenever you need. Have fun, and may Alamnia guide you.
Heck yeah. So that's our Kickstarter campaign, and so go support it if you can, and spread the Fantasy Forge love. But anyways, aside from all of that, let's go ahead and jump back into some Adventures in Middle Earth. That's what we're all here for, right? Some Lord of the Rings. Really quickly, so I am Kyle. I am the lore master and playing both with and against these players as they forge their name in the world of Middle Earth. This is a campaign that is a D&D 5e supplement that takes place in the world of Middle Earth between the years of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So it is currently 7 years after the fall of Smaug. Wilderland Adventure, if you want to go check out that campaign, it's on our YouTube. And these are the events that happen directly after the Wilderland Adventures campaign. And so Theodric and Valnith have made their way across the Misty Mountains into the land of Eriador to where they have met up with Caliphyr and Cirion and are currently on a quest to speak with Círdan the Shipwright for multi-purpose. Multi-purpose. The first of which is to speak with Círdan about the whereabouts of this sword, basically this legendary sword that has been known to fight back the darkness. And so they're going to go talk to him about that. I know Theodric probably wants to have conversations with him about the dream that he had and the dreams that he's been having, as if there is anyone in Middle-earth that probably has better foresight than Elrond, it's Círdan, the oldest living being that's here in Middle-earth right now.
What about Tom?
Tom
about Tom
might be
Bombadil?
older, actually, so we'll see. Actually, I don't know
Definitely is.
specifically. Yeah, he is ancient as time.
Yeah, but he's also has a very limited range of knowledge.
That's true.
To
Yeah,
his forest.
He just
kind
crawl-
of just hangs out in his forest.
He takes the one
Thinking about
ring
his
and
wife.
he puts it on his nose.
Yeah, he's a master of the
What
forest.
are you doing?
And that's it.
He loves his trees and he loves his wife, and that's all that matters to him.
It's true. He's
All I
great.
can remember is the very old audio telling of "Oh, Tom Bombadil, Tom Bombadilio." What was that? Was that Tolkien who sang it? I think it might have been Tolkien's audio
I don't
recording.
know.
It could have been. Anyways,
I'll look it up.
It's all good.
I have it on Audible.
Oh, do you
But,
know?
anything else? Yes, and so they're on a quest, marching from Rivendell all the way across the entire expanse of Eriador to the Grey Havens to go speak with Círdan. And then there's also the third adage of basically renting a ship for Frothian and Arthanath to make their way back to Dol Amroth to let the Lord of Dol Amroth know the stuff that is happening right now in Eriador. And the overall vision of this campaign, as it were, is last adventure they discovered the plans of an Olog High, which is basically like a troll-orc hybrid from the lands of Mordor, who is currently in the process of building underground tunnels underneath Eriador, so that his armies of orcs and trolls can move during the day and at any point hidden and without the fear of the sun, as we all know that the orcs and trolls have. So,
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is really cool, and I don't think I've ever shown you guys, but I think this is the right stream for it. My sister got me the coolest birthday present, and I'll show it on my little cam now. It is, I don't know if you can see, a metal plate map of Middle Earth, and it's all embossed topographically. So, the mountains are all raised up, and the
that's
valleys
freaking
are
sick.
raised down. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it can be mounted on my wall, or I do have a little. Hold up.
Stand for it.
Stand for it.
You have the map at your fingertips now. That you can
Exactly.
use, quite literally.
It's not all that detailed because of how
big it
the
is.
size of
Yeah.
it. It's only about yay big, but it is very cool.
That's really neat. I
That's
like
really
when you propped it up, I could really see the raised 3D-ness
Yeah.
of it. That's really cool.
By the way, happy birthday! You just celebrated a birthday recently, didn't you?
Yes, I did the same day as Brit, I believe. We
Happy birthday, Brett,
That
in Australian.
was on
Happy
the
birthday.
25th of February. I am now 32.
Nice.
Yes.
Gotta like that.
It's a good age to be.
It is, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Rob Inglis is who read the old audiobooks.
Got it.
Not
But
told.
no, I
There
just
you
I
go.
just thought I'd show you that because I was like, where is Dol Amroth? And I pulled up this to figure it out.
Yes, on the southern reaches of Gondor. It's cool. It's a cool thing. And they freaking chopped like the best guy out of like the strongest like fighter in all of Gondor, like out of the movies, Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth.
Yes.
He's a freaking beast. And FYI, for those who don't know, when basically the Fellowship, or I guess like the Three Hunters, go to like the Black Gate, which that includes, I mean, I guess Faramir was there, but like Aragorn, like all that kind of stuff. If basically like all of them died at the Black Gate, the new king of Gondor would have been Prince Imrahil, which is kind of
Nice.
but he was next in line for that. Because I guess he's got like half elven blood too. So like the men of like Dol Amroth are also kind of Dunedain like. So that's pretty neat. Anyways, with that being the case, let's go ahead and jump right back into the fray. And so their current adventure that they're on is taking them to the Grey Havens. However, upon their adventure, they stumbled upon a ranger at Weathertop. And he was waiting for another ranger to kind of like come and take his place in the patrol, who goes by the pseudonym Terry Mack. And he's known for being a troublemaker in Eriador, and he last had been seen at the Forsaken Inn. And so the group eventually traveled and wandered to this Forsaken Inn, where they met Jack and then a caravan of travelers that have made their way towards Bree from the east. Basically controlled primarily by one trader from Dorwinion. His name is Mirabar. And then there is a company of dwarves that are with them, some medicine salesmen as well, like healing herbs and that kind of stuff. And then the leader of the caravan, which is Adoric and Eowyn, who are both Breelanders. And so this large company of people have become known to the adventuring party. And they kind of had a little bit, they got caught in a rainstorm, had a little bit of an opportunity to chat with them. They rented room 6 for the night, which we learned is the best room at the Forsaken Inn. And events led one to another, and they found in the morning the next day the dead body of Terry Mack in a well. It had looked like his throat was slit by his own knife. And he was cold as ice, almost as if his blood had coagulated. And so there was basically very little evidence of that. And so after telling the Jack, the owner of the Forsaken Inn, about this, and also burying Terry Mack, the company very quickly rushes on the Greenway to join back up with the caravan, and with basically trying to figure out like what happened. Was there any sketchiness afoot by anybody in that company? And so they have decided to take on the potential of investigating some of these people. And so each of the characters will have a little opportunity to try to divulge some information. And what was the breakdown of characters thus far that we decided to interrogate?
Yeah,
So
I think the only 2 that we didn't decide on was Eowyn the child. I don't think we discussed him. And then 2 of the dwarves, I can't remember which ones.
Yeah, so so basically we can split these between either Calefir or Theodric. And so
Narvig and Narvi.
yeah, so Vig and Vogar. Vig is
I'm
already
investigating big.
Yeah, so investigated by Vig. And then I guess there's 3 dwarves and 2 men. And so Vogar, who is the one who's like the big brutish looking one. So he's not the leader, but definitely looks like the fighter of the group. Narvig he's kind of a little bit sassy, but he's a younger dwarf. And then the youngest of the dwarves is Narvi. And then there's also Mirabar, who's the merchant from Dorwinion. And then Eowyn, who is the stable boy, essentially, like the stable hand that helps out Adoric. So
Every time you say his name, I just think of Eowyn from...
I know, but it's not pronounced that way. It's probably pronounced in a different way, or it's spelled that way. It's probably pronounced in a different way, but it's Eoin. Eowyn. Eowyn? Eowyn? I have no idea how you pronounce it.
Ewan?
Ewan, maybe.
Isn't that how
Ewan
Eowyn
Kind
is
of like
spelled?
Ewan. Like McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah,
Damn,
Ewan
Ewan
McGregor. I'll call. Yeah, we'll just call him McGregor. How's that?
McGregor.
Hey, McGregor. But anyways, and so it's later, kind of past mid-afternoon, around 2 or 3 p.m. And the one thing that you've noticed is this caravan moves slow. It is a very densely packed caravan with 11 ponies. Additionally, there's 2 wagons as well. One with the big chunk of Mirabar's goods, and then there's a smaller wagon that it has basically the healing items for Herlinen and Barreless. And so they're all making their way to Bree. That's the end goal for them, but they do move quite slow along the Greenway. And so what should only take from the Forsaken Inn to Bree about a day's travel is about from here, if you guys push the pace, about a day and a half, maybe 2 days, depending on anything. And so you guys have joined back up with the party, and you had told them that there was a murder back at the Forsaken Inn, and everyone looked around shocked, but specifically Adoric, he says, yes, this is an issue. We need to talk to the Reeve of Bree, who the Reeve, which is essentially like the leader, like the elected leader of Bree, is a guy by the name of Tywick Greenleaf. And so when you get to Bree, that was his recommendation, is you let, since this did happen within the jurisdiction of the Bree land, that would be the person that you would tell for that. But, and then you guys had gotten together and you had discussed a little bit about, like, potentially, like, trying to figure out, like, suss out, like, if there was any foul play that happened within the party. And so with that being the case, yeah, what did you guys decide as far as, like, who you're investigating?
I've got Barreless and Vig.
Okay.
Valnith had Eadoric and Herlinen, the herbalist.
So, I guess between Calefear and Theodric. So Calefear's actually got pretty decent charisma, so he's okay to speak to dwarves if, like, that's something that Theodric maybe isn't as into. But Theodric, you can also speak with dwarves. That's cool, too.
Yeah. I think Theodric is going to. Is somebody? Sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained.
Oh, you're good.
All
Yeah,
these different
Mirabar,
names.
who's the merchant.
Is Mirabar being investigated?
He is not.
No, not by
and
anyone.
neither is Ewan. I mean, I can just call him Ewan for now.
I'm
Let's
going
do
to investigate those two.
Okay.
Right.
And so you guys have probably a day and a half, a couple of days to be able to approach. I will have you guys make rules as we go through and kind of role play this to determine whether or not you can kind of perceive, like, what good times are to speak with each of them and just kind of investigate. But first and foremost, before we do anything, I'm going to have all of you make perception checks for me.
I'm
Oh,
shaking.
baby.
Let's hope that this is a
Ooh.
Solid.
decent roll.
Ooh, that was almost really bad. And then it was
Mine
good.
was really bad.
16
15.
It's pretty good, DJ.
for me. Yeah.
9. Yeah, 9 for Valinith. He did roll bad.
21 for Kyrian.
Perfect. As far as the way that all of them on the road interact with each other, you can tell that there are 3 distinct groups here. It's kind of similar from when you were back at the Forsaken Inn, but it's very much more evident. And you can tell kind of by just, like, based observing, like, the way that this caravan goes about its business, what the jobs of everybody is in this caravan. Obviously, you have the merchants. And so Herlinen and Barreless, they are probably the most social amongst all of them. However, the 2 of them kind of stick to themselves for the most part. You can tell that Adoric and Mirabar, they're probably the closest in age of, like, all of, like, the humans that there are, so a little bit older. Especially Mirabar, he's definitely kind of getting up there in years. But he's basically right at the side of Adoric, like, the entire time, and you can tell that the vast majority of the conversation that's being had, like, out loud is the 2 of them chatting. with each other. Eowyn, he has made his way back and is sitting in the main wagon, and he's actually the one driving the main wagon for that. And then the dwarves. So each of the dwarves seem to have taken up some kind of position. Each of them ride one of the 11 ponies, and they are scattered on each side. So there's 2 on the right and left, 1 on the back, and then or like 1 on the right and left, and then 2 in the back following the caravan. And so they look to be some kind of like lookouts or guards, and they're definitely the ones that are most like equipped for battle. Just generally speaking, specifically that you notice, Kyrian, is one of the dwarves, the one that is basically like the bigger, kind of heavier set one, the one who really looks like a warrior. He seems to be carrying this large warhammer on his back, and something has been kind of like off a little bit of him. Is he doesn't seem like very like reactive or with it. You're unsure like exactly why this is, but he has seen a lot of battle like compared to the rest of the dwarves, and this is very clear. He has this large scar that goes down the center of his face, and whenever like there's conversations that are being had, specifically it's Vig speaking to, so Vig, the guy that you're investigating, Kyrian, speaking to this guy, what is his name, Vogar. Speaking to Vogar, you notice that Vogar just stares blankly, and all of the conversation is done by Vig. He just Vogar just kind of like stares at the road without like much response. That's one thing that you notice. As far as Theodric, what as you're kind of like looking more at kind of like the humans in the company, you see that Adoric seems to have shaken off the fact that this murder happened almost a little too quickly, kind of dismissing, not necessarily dismissing it, but it doesn't really seem to have weighed super heavy on him compared to maybe some of the others in the party. You can tell that Eowyn specific, or Ewan, he seems a little troubled by this, like the fact that like there has been a murder, but Adoric, you kind of get the impression that he's very duty focused, and he's like, that's not like a job that for me to look into, that's a job for someone else. That's the general gist that you get from that. As far as Calefir, what Calefir is able to just first impressions notice is the 2 dwarves, the younger dwarves, Narvig and Narvi. They seem to be talking across the way to each other every now and then in Dwarvish. He's unable to really pick up much about what they are saying, but they seem to be looking at other members of the caravan, other members of the company, specifically with eyes on Barrelas and Herlin. And as far as you go, what's his bucket? Why am I spacing? Valinith, your name. You notice that specifically, kind of looking a little bit at like Herlin and Barrelas, they seem to be probably the most troubled of everybody with the fact that this murder has happened. You can see that there's actually some tears that have formed up in Barrelas's eyes, and Herlinen is doing what he can to be able to comfort her, and they speak quietly to each other.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Can Valnith sense shadow on any of them? Anyone in the party?
Is there anyone specifically, or are you just making a general check?
Well, mainly looking at Barrelas and Herlinen for those, but he's just kind of seeing if he gets a general aura of the heebie-jeebies from them, because that's what he can do as a high elf. So
I'm gonna have you make a shadow lore check for me.
Okay.
Also, how
I've been
how
rolling
is
so
that
bad.
one name spelled again? Is it Eoin?
Eoin, yes.
I googled it, and apparently it's pronounced Owen.
Owen.
It's Irish.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah.
Owen.
So, of
Kyle.
course, the Irish confused it for no particular reason.
Of course.
Kyle, I just can't roll worth crud. That's a 4. That's a solid
no,
4.
I mean, you don't even like sense like any sense of shadow. If anything, like the summer day has kind of lifted everybody's spirits. The only dour demeanor is the news that has happened.
Okay.
I mean, I guess Barrelas's spirits haven't been lifted, but no, you don't sense any shadow on her.
No heebie-jeebies though.
No
Okay,
heebie-jeebies.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
And the
what was I gonna
I will say everybody's interactions kind of seem par for the course for what you've seen in the inn. No one's acting exceptionally strange compared to what they've seen from the inn specifically. However, probably the key one that maybe seems a little bit different is I would say with Kyrian. You notice the way that Vig speaks, kind of in hushed tones in Dwarvish to Vogar. That seems a little bit off compared to like the jovial shouting that they would had in the inn, and then even like the two younger dwarves as well.
Mm-hmm. I will. Do I know the languages that my party speaks?
I would say so. So like Sindarin, I think everybody knows Sindarin. Maybe not Califir. Califir might not know Sindarin, but
Wait,
Westron, Sindarin, and Quenya.
does Theodric know Sindarin?
Yeah, he got lessons in it.
Bro,
Yes, basic
why are
lessons
you
in
like
it,
a
yeah.
linguist? My goodness.
I know.
it's
Here's
called
the thing,
Valna taught him.
it's the young malleable mind of
Originally,
child.
my idea was Theodric was going to be illiterate, but for some reason he knows Sindarin, Westron, and Rohirric, which the King of Rohan doesn't even know right now. So
It's impressive.
Sweet.
maybe this is the way that I think about it. The one thing that the men of the Mark, they learn a lot of their stuff through song. So maybe Theodric knows Sindarin based off of like Elvish music.
There it is. I like that. Kind of like how I know Despacito. I really don't. I know that one word. Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna. Does anyone in our party know Dwarvish or no? Are we
no,
out
I
of luck
don't think
there?
any of us
No,
speak
Caleb doesn't.
Kuzbil.
The one thing, okay, so I will say the one thing about Dwarvish that you would know of, I think all of you are pretty keen on knowing, but especially you, Kyrian, is like the Dwarvish language is a very secret language. Only dwarves know it, and you have to be like super
Got it.
highly trusted to even like be taught it.
Learn a word or two. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. But why are they like Khazad-dûm like all the time in Lord of the Rings? That's Dwarvish.
Baruch Khazad.
They're just throwing
War
out
cries.
those
Maybe it makes
dwarf
goblins
names.
afraid. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All
I'm
right.
sure dwarves speak.
All right, then I'll kind of, somewhat one at a time. When I get the chance and it's not overheard by the others, just be like, keep an eye on those two, Vig and Vogar, was it? They seem to be speaking in confidence away from the party often. Can't hear what they're saying because it's Dwarvish, but
And Valna turns to me and says, well, I don't know if we're necessarily going to get anything from them, considering that none of us speak Dwarvish. And from what I learned last night, whenever they're talking amongst each other, they don't use anything but Dwarvish. So I don't know how we're going to be able to get anything from them.
It also could just be that they are concerned about this murder. They are seemingly the guards of this caravan. They have more cause than anyone to be, I guess, paranoid.
Oh,
dudes.
Theodric, the optimistic one. I love it.
Yes.
Califir chimes in and he says, "What are dwarves in this region most known for? Dwarves are a rarity from down in Gondor.
Toys.
Toys? Tinkerers.
Toys, tinkerers, yes.
Yes.
They sell their wares quite well, honestly, from what I remember.
I mean,
Dead?
depending on who you're selling to. In this region, it's mostly toys for the.
Can I roll? Would it be history to remember, like, how the dwarves in Lake Town and Dale, like,
Yeah.
sold
Go
their
ahead.
stuff?
Roll
Like,
history
how-
with advantage.
Do we still have those dwarven toys that we got in the Broken Keep?
Yeah, you should still have those.
Nice. They're also known for their smithing
11.
to rival the elves.
Yes, actually,
Don't
one
tell the
thing,
elves.
Theodric, that you very much remember were the dwarven toys that were made and sold in Lake Town. I don't know, it was way back, like again 2 years ago, when you were visiting Lake Town. You during like or was it? I think it might have been Dale actually.
It was Dale during their big celebration.
During the big celebration, the gathering of the 5 armies, there were actually a lot of people that were gathered around like the firework makers and the basically dwarven toy makers. It was a big deal. And so the one thing that you knew of these people is these dwarves, many dwarves since the death of Smaug have been making their way, those that have been displaced from Erebor, making their way back to Erebor. And a lot of them had gone to the Blue Mountains, which the Blue Mountains, for those who don't know, are the mountain range that's like on the far western part of Eriador. And like,
isn't that where Gimli's from?
Yeah, so like basically like all of the company of Thorin Oakenshield, like they were wanderers in Eriador. Specifically, they would take up jobs as tinkerers, blacksmiths, and caravan guards. And so that's like a typical like thing that you would see for people like that. And especially in regards to the Blue Mountains, that's where most of them lived during that time and lived pretty peacefully, but they all have dreams of returning to Erebor. And so like, especially these past 7 years, dwarves on the road are not uncommon. It's something that like everybody's making their pilgrimage back home after all of this time. But it seems like these dwarves specifically have taken up jobs here for whatever reason and are staying here and aren't returning home to Erebor.
Okay, well, I'll turn to Kyrian and just be like, from what I remember, a lot of the dwarves in Dale were, well, their fireworks and their toys were very widely received, and a lot of people liked them. And it's not that strange to see dwarves this far west, sorry. So, I don't think there's anything too much to it.
Calefir nods and he says, I've seen my fair share of dwarves since I've been in this company with you, and I was just curious. They all seem wary of outsiders, wary of travel.
That is an unfortunate side effect of a lot of people, due to their reclusive nature, don't really trust them, unfortunately. It's probably a poor side effect of the desolation of Smaug and them having to relocate and really not having a home for a while.
Do you think we could trust these dwarves? And he kind of like looks suspiciously, especially since Kyrian had brought it up, and he kind of looks a little bit suspiciously. And he's not actually as concerned with Vogar and Vig, but more concerned with like the two young ones that are calling out to each other on either sides of the caravan. Speaking in Dwarvish, he says, it doesn't seem very well, it seems ill-mannered, the fact that they keep speaking to each other without anybody being able to understand what they are saying. What if they're conspirating and that we're conspiring? And he like strokes kind of like the stubble that's on his face, and he thinks deeply.
Theodric just laughs and he's like, "Well, I guess you haven't spent that much time with dwarves, because ill-mannered is a pretty apt descriptor for the majority of them." But no, I don't think we have too much to worry about them.
And
most of
Valnith
the dwarves I've
pipes
met
in.
are honourable and pretty straightforward, so...
Yes, and in fact, if you remember, what you need is you need a foot in the door to get them to talk to you. And Valnith rummages through his bag. I was looking in my actual bag itself, and I couldn't find them. However, in my actual notes, we do have 2 dwarven toys. Maybe we can use these to get them talking to us. Maybe it'll pique their interest in particular. And who's talking to the dwarves, he'll hand 1 toy to each of them. I guess.
Calefir will be talking
Calefir.
to the Narvig and Narvi, so the 2 young dwarves. And then Cole or Kyrian is talking to Vig specifically.
Okay. And Vig's the brute one, so he probably doesn't need it.
No, Vig
Right.
Vig is the like kind of one that's in
The
charge.
father.
Yeah.
The father. Okay, cool. So Valnith will hand both toys to Calefir and Kyrian, so that they can use those as an in to talk about stuff. if
As
they
Calefir
desire.
actually looks at this toy, it looks to be kind of like a small little toy soldier. And he looks closer at it, and it begins, and he kind of like twists the little tinker on the back. And as he does so, it stands up like upright and does kind of like a little dance around in the circle before collapsing on itself. And so it's actually very impressive as far as toys go. Like, it's kind of like a little automation, which is interesting. The one that actually was given specifically to Kyrian is one of a ship. And so this is a boat. There's no like winding mechanism or anything on this one in particular, but it seems to be you have no idea how to get it started, essentially. But it definitely has kind of like the same look and kind of feel, general design of the same of the little toy soldier.
Theodric is going to chime in and not too loudly, but kind of quietly, as an aside to Caliphyr and Syrian, be like, maybe ask the dwarves about if there's any sort of maker's mark on the toys. From what I understand, most dwarves, they do like to brag about the creations of themselves or their relations or who they know. So that might be the easiest way to naturally bring it up.
I'm going to have all of you make insight checks for me.
Insight.
Insight.
Wow. What is wrong with me? I've rolled a 2, a 2, and a natural 1 for a 7.
Sick.
I have rolled as bad as you can roll today. So 7.
16.
11.
I got a 10.
With this being the case, and as you receive these toys, both Kyrian and Caliphyr, one thing that you seem to just generally begin to tell is there's a little bit of a guard around them. You're going to probably have to work to get these dwarves to have any kind of speech, and these dwarven toys might be exactly that, a very good in for them. And so use them whenever the opportunity seems good for that. That might be a good opportunity to bring up. In regards to the people in the caravan, one of the things that actually, Kyrian, you notice is the person who kind of seems probably most apt to talking at the moment would actually be Owen.
Nice.
He's the one who actually is currently like the only one who's truly like alone at this point. So now actually might be a good opportunity, whoever's going to talk to Owen, to go speak to him.
That would be me.
I'll nudge Theodric and say, looks like that lad could use some company.
And Theodric's going to give a subtle wink and nod and spur Baradorok forward to keep right next to Owen.
Perfect. And with that being the case, what are the rest of you doing? Are the rest of you guys just staying together, having conversations with yourselves, or are you going to kind of spread out and try to pick up or even like eavesdrop or like anything on any of these others? What's the plan?
Oh yeah, I will. I will feign a conversation with either Valineth or Caliphyr, whoever seems more apt, and try to eavesdrop in on, since I can't understand the dwarves, Everlast.
I would say Valineth might be a better ask, because Kyrian or Caliphyr is going to hang back with the dwarves.
And you know what we could do with that, Kyrian? Valineth has got webs of deceit, which he always forgets he has since he leveled up. So basically what it is, before we start an interaction with anyone, there's no downside to it, but basically I would need to make a, what kind of roll is it? It's I believe it's an insight check against, either of them, but it's a 15 plus their whatever their stat is. Let me see. Let me just read it. It's kind of complicated. So, webs of deceit. So at 5th level, your insight and learning is sufficient to manipulate others with the well-timed words. At the start of an interaction, you may make an intelligence insight test against a DC 15 plus the target's wisdom modifier. So I would make that roll against whoever.
Hey.
I mean, Valnith has a +6 to his insight, so
Okay.
it shouldn't be impossible, but he's been rolling horrible today.
Yeah.
So can I make that check, Kyle?
When we get to you, we can make that check. We can go ahead
Okay.
and start off with Theodric. And so, as everybody kind of naturally splits into kind of like their areas of the caravan, Theodric, you ride up alongside the main wagon, and you begin to kind of pick up conversation with Owen.
Hey there, Owen, wasn't it?
He kind of is in a little bit of a daze, and he snaps out and he says, "Oh, yes, Owen. Owen is the name. What can I do for you?" And he kind of gives like a little shake of his reins to keep the horses going.
Nothing much. I just noticed you seemed a little bit out of it. Thought maybe you could use someone to talk to.
Oh, did I? Sorry, I tend to wear my emotions on my sleeve. At least that's what Adora keeps telling me. I need to become more stoic if I need to, if I'm going to be working with people. Sorry about that.
Well, no, it's okay. Stoicism has its time, but there's nothing really wrong with wearing your heart on your sleeve.
And he smiles and he looks forward and he kind of just like glances for a moment. His eyes linger before he comes back to you, looks back to you. Yeah, maybe you're right. And he kind of like laughs awkwardly.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm from Rohan. I've seen more than my fair share of stoicism. It grates on the nerves after a while.
So your first impression of Owen is he's definitely a young man of probably no more than 15. Very young. And he seems like he hasn't experienced too much hardship in his life. He's not hardened at all. He's very kind of like fresh to being out in the world, fresh on adventures. And with that being the case, he seems to know what he's doing. This is kind of his wheelhouse, like being with animals and like kind of riding this cart. But he looks to you and he says, "So, how old are you, Theodric?"
I turned 18 a while ago. I haven't really kept track of time recently. But yes, I turned 18 a while ago.
His eyes grow wide with shock as he says, "Wait, you can't tell me you're only 3 years older than I am." As he like looks down like at himself, like examining himself. He's like, "You look like such a man."
Well, the men of the mark are quite tall and large, so I'm not done growing quite yet. But you know, it's okay. Puberty happens to everyone, so.
What I would give to be a warrior, to be a fighter. And you can tell that he like looks at your sword, the sword with kind of like the bear engraving on his hilt. And he kind of like looks up at your body and he says, "How did you do it? Do you have any training regiments? Do you have?" And he like looks very like he has kind of snapped out of like this dour demeanor. He is beginning to ask all kinds of questions. He is super concerned about like why you look like this.
Well, when I was very young, my father was a rider of Rohan, and my grandfather was a rider of Rohan, and his father was a rider. You get the picture. So there was really never any doubt, I guess, of where my life was headed. So the majority of my childhood, I was trained to be a rider of Rohan.
He shakes his head, very intent, and he looks back up ahead, and again, his eyes linger up ahead before it comes back to him. He says, "If I looked like you, if I was a rider of Bree, I could get any girl that I wanted. Do you have any recommendations for me?"
Theodrix just laughs. He's like, "Well, getting girls isn't exactly the main reason you should be doing this. It is quite dangerous. If I had...
Isn't that what
girl-
the girls like? The danger of it.
Yeah, but there's no point in the girls liking the danger if you're too dead to enjoy their company. If
Fair
I had a
point.
gold piece for every time I almost died, well, I could probably retire and own a fancy villa in Condor.
He thinks hard for a moment and he says, well, there's not a lot of danger in Bree, but who knows? Maybe one day I can be strong enough to ride, and he pats the butt of one of the horses up in front of him. Maybe I can ride my steed into battle one day and hunt down a bear or something. Again, his eyes looking at the bear on the hilt of your sword.
Well, I mean, bears are a normal kind of danger, so I guess that's not quite as bad as what I'm used to dealing with, but
And
honestly,
then maybe
if you want to
wolves,
need
and then
advice,
maybe
I'd
orcs,
say...
and who knows, maybe a troll, as he continues to go more and more deeper down this rabbit hole.
I wouldn't recommend going against anything other than maybe a lone wolf without anyone at your back.
But what about the element of surprise?
That can only get you so far. Even I haven't been willing to fight trolls, with or without my companions. And Theodric says as he tosses a quick glance back to Valineth and Caliphyr and Tyrion.
Well, have you ever heard of death by fright? What if you snuck up on a troll and scared it enough to where its heart would stop then and there?
Unfortunately, from what I've seen, most trolls and creatures of shadow don't really frighten easily. Or at all, in some cases.
Well, what if I make a noise scary enough and he goes and he lets out this large roar? Roar! As he just as intimidating as possible. Everybody in the company stops. The ponies and the horses whinny, and they're just everyone's just what in the world is this
And
place?
Theodric is just cackling at this point.
He looks and
Well-
immediately he notices that he is the center of attention, and he shrinks into himself again, and he just says, maybe that would work if I looked as intimidating as you do.
Maybe, but it was certainly eye-catching and ear-catching.
Nobody died.
Nobody died.
Gotta work on that. His eyes again forward, linger for a moment, and then down.
What
I'm gonna
is
have you
he
make
looking at? Can
an
I make
insight
an...
check for me?
Just natural? 16.
His eyes seem to be lingering on the pair of people that are riding in front of him, specifically on the back of Barrowless.
Ah. Theodric catches this and kind of smirks to himself. Says, not every woman's attracted to brawn and, heroism.
Well, can I be quite frank with you, Theodric? And his voice gets hushed, very hushed.
Certainly.
I've been meaning to, and his eyes go back up to Barrowlass, declare my love for Barrowlass. But there's a problem. Her brother, her linen, is always there and always in the way. And with my adventure with her, I've been in this caravan for a couple of weeks now, and with this adventure coming to an end soon, I figure I just gotta make my shot. But I need a moment alone with her. And you understand, I see people like you and your companions, and I just wish I had the confidence that you all have. Warriors alone on the roads. But me, I'm just a stable hand. I've known nothing but animals and comfort life. But I would die to defend Berlass. I would kill to defend Berlass. And then again, he shrinks back into himself.
I mean, that's a... Look, kindness is a strength of its own. And there's no sin. There's no crime in living a comfortable, danger-free life.
But it doesn't
There are
impress ladies.
Not everything impresses ladies, but I think kindness generally does. I feel like if there was more kindness in the world, well, less people would need swords.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Thank you, Theodric. I feel like I can trust you a little bit more now. If you have any tips for me, I plan on... And he kind of like looks from side to side, and he whispers in a low, very almost unaudible tone. I'm going to confess to her tonight. Wish me luck.
Okay. Well, I do wish you luck, and I'm not really well versed in the matters of the heart and love, but all I can say is be honest and summon up that courage I know you have. Maybe tonight I'll do my best to distract her brother.
He smiles and he says, "You would do that for me?"
Sure.
Genuine excitement bubbles up in him, and his dour demeanor is completely gone. He is on the highest of highs, high spirits, going forward.
How old is Berlass?
15.
Oh, so
Oh, sorry.
yeah. As far as Barrelass, you
He's
don't know
15,
specifically her age. She is young, and she's probably older. She doesn't look like adolescent. She looks maybe in her 20s,
Oh no.
to some degree.
What have I done?
Nice.
It's gonna be fun. I look forward to this.
I will say to him, but if you do want to get a little bit bigger, I'd say try to eat a bit more meat and don't shy away from any physical labor.
He looks and he says, "Don't tell anyone." And he picks up basically a blanket that's on the back of the caravan, and you see what look to be like gigantic chunks of dried meat. I've been saving these for a rainy day. And he puts the tarp back down, and he kind of gives you kind of like this determined look. It's awkward looking, but it's a determined look.
Well, you know, like you've still got time. Like most of us don't stop growing for a while.
Thank you, Theodric. Keep that in mind as he continues to look determined.
Theodric's so uncomfortable right now because he's like, he hasn't spoken to anyone younger than him in probably since he left home at Rohan. Actually, no. How old was it Brindle?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So she was young, but she definitely was aged based off of experience, and so where like
No, it would have been Belgo. Belgo would have been the last young person Theodric's dealt.
There you go.
oh, yeah,
What
well,
about Aragorn?
that's,
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
cool.
I ever spoke to Estelle.
Oh,
that's actually
Sad day.
also
He's
true.
cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But yeah. So Theodric's kind of like not used to the hero worship and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's gonna just be like, so how long have you been doing this, being part of a caravan?
This is my first full year come this autumn. This is my second adventure. I was hired at Bree. Well, some say it's nepotism, but... And he goes into this whole story about how he used to work as kind of like a stable hand at the Prancing Pony. But one of his kind of like better like friends went off on an adventure and he never saw him again. And with that being the case, he wanted to go onto the road, but he never really had a means to do so, as like this was his way of kind of like learning and making a living and whatnot. And so when the opportunity arose, he went to go speak to Barnabas Butterbur about potentially being contracted out, and that kind of through many connections he was introduced to Adoric and traveling the roads. And basically, Adoric has given him the opportunity, and he is paid very, very little for what he does. But he also has been out on the roads looking for his friend who has gone missing for some time too. So,
what's his friend's name?
so his friend, as he thinks hard about it, do you want to like actually specifically like ask him?
Yes, I would like to specifically ask him.
Perfect. Yeah, he thinks back like quite sorrowfully. His happy demeanor seems to have diminished a little bit. His name is Lachlan.
Oh wait, he was one of the guards for that caravan that we. Oh no. He was, wasn't he? I'm remembering that correctly. Lachlan was one of the guys who died on the top of that hill.
No.
Lachlan is the friend of what's her bucket, Jalen,
Of Jalen.
growing up.
The
But
healer
wasn't he
who
one of-
went off to Rivendell to learn his hand at healing.
So he wasn't one of the ones who was
He
on
wasn't
the
one of the
mountain
ones
top?
who died.
Was it, what was it? It was Pimply Tom,
Yep, I remember it.
who had the really bad acne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot, what were their names? I gotta-
No, Lachlan, like from the origin story of Jalen, it was basically Lachlan was her childhood best friend, and then her rival was, I forget his name.
Tad.
Tad, yeah, Tad. But
Tad the
Lachlan
rock
was like her
thrower.
childhood friend that's just like, hey, you need to go and be yourself in the wild, essentially.
So it was Andy Blackthorn, Bill the Bowman, and Tom Lumpyface.
Lumpy face, that was it, not Pimple face.
It's a good name, Happy Face.
But Theodric is going to just go. Lachlan. Did you know Jalen as well?
His expression gets serious all of a sudden, and he says, "Yes, I did know her."
Let's see.
And he looks from side to side. He's like, "Did you?"
Yeah, she was a good friend of mine.
So you know. And his head, and he hangs his head with a dour demeanor. They say that she died off in the wilds. She was good. She was always strong. But
She was kind. I was there.
he looks up, and his eyes grow wide, and he says, "Rumor said that she was alone."
No. No. She died protecting a child from a madman.
Did she? Did she? And he looks back down, kind of like contemplatively, and he says, "She was also always older than me, and me and my classmates always looked up to her, and she was strong. And when she went off, they say that she was whisked away on adventure. When she went off, we feared that we'd never see her again. There are stories about the outside wild places and how dangerous they are. And when Lachlan left with her, I didn't think I'd ever see them again, and I still haven't seen them, either of them. The road is a dangerous place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's why I need to get strong. That's why I need to grow big, so I can protect those I care about." And his eyes again go to Barrelass.
Just remember that you don't just need to be strong, you need to be smart. And you need to know sometimes it's best to run away and live rather than die fighting a useless battle.
Make a persuasion check for me.
That's a 14.
You can tell that this sinks in, and he says, "You're right. None of this is worth it if I'm buried deep below the hills." keep that in mind. Thank you, Theodric.
You're welcome.
And with that, let's go ahead and move over to Valinith and Kyrian. So the two of you, you're kind of having a conversation, eavesdropping on specifically Everlast and Herlinen. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you ride up alongside the two of them, and as you do so, their quiet conversations seem to have halted. They notice that you have ridden up, and their talking becomes louder, more kind of arbitrary things, and you hear Herlinen say, "Man, I wonder what could have done a ranger in." And he shakes his head and he says, "It's a shame. They're some of the best herbalists that I know." Everlast doesn't really respond to this.
Yeah.
She's still kind of softly weeping to herself.
So can Valinith make his webs of deceit check?
Yes. So what is that? Insight? Versus
It's
their
insight.
what?
So it would be their wisdom modifier plus 15.
Wisdom modifier. Okay. Go ahead.
Not great. 16 total.
That is a success.
Oh!
They're not very wise.
I guess not. So basically what that means is anytime during the conversation that's to ensue, you can get, what's it called? Conversation. You may gain advantage on any one skill check through your scholarship in preparation.
Okay.
For what it is. So.
Perfect. So just tell me which check you want to use that on, if there are conversations to be had. But that one's not necessarily like an insight stuff. So you actually have to like engage them in conversation in order to get this. So before you do that though, Kyrian, is there anything that you want to do? Because I know like you wanted to kind of eavesdrop a bit. Do you want to do that while this conversation is happening? And kind of like eavesdrop on like what's going on, or would you like to do that before or after, or whatever the case?
I mean, yes.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Just eavesdrop the whole time.
He's just
Yeah,
listening. He's
I
got his
just-
hood up.
I just
Smoking
want
his
it to
pipe.
be like they don't know I'm listening, but I'm listening, you know? I'm very perceptive.
I'm gonna have you then make a perception check for me, and right as Valinith, you kind of break ranks and go up to talk to Everlast and Herlinen.
Okay.
20.
20. Yeah, they clearly know that the two of you had approached, and their conversation that they had, well, at least as far as like on Herlinen's end, he has changed his demeanor completely. From everything that he said, you weren't able to hear too much what they were talking about beforehand, but Herlinen has changed dramatically. Everlast hasn't, and especially as Valinith goes up to have a conversation with the two of them, you can get the general sense that specifically Herlinen has his guard up.
Sweet. Yeah, I guess Valinith approaches and says, "Ah, if it isn't my two favorite travelers among this party. Though I like everyone the same, however, you two. We had good conversations the night before, didn't we?"
Herlinen, he says, yes, I've got a thing or two to learn more from you about, and he basically like gestures back to the carts that the two of them are currently riding on top of. Got a thing or two to ask you about how to use some of this elvish medicine. And he kind of gives you kind of like this half smile as he says, didn't take you long to catch up to our caravan. Not that that would be very difficult. Seems like we've been on the road for weeks. He kind of rolls his eyes and like laughs to himself.
Yeah, it is slow moving, but it gave us the opportunity to catch up. Yes, and indeed, I will do my best to teach you what I can. I do want to pick your brain as well. I've been thinking about a lot of things, and I'm always learning or wanting to learn new remedies, or I mean, I'm pretty new to the road, obviously. I have had my adventures here and there, but I'm still learning about encounters on the road, if that should, and how to treat them. And Valinith like starts scratching his chin a little bit like this. He's just like, yes. In fact, in this hot and muggy weather, I've encountered a couple people at this point who, whether they're deceased or whatnot, who just like cold to the skin, cold to the touch, and it's peculiar to me. I wonder if it's some sort of poison or whatnot. Do you have any information about such things?
He hesitates before he asks, before he continues further, and he says, could be a snake bite. I know that there's a specific viper that tends to be in the Breeland, specifically in the Weathered Hills, North Downs area. And he looks to you, and he kind of narrows his gaze, and then smiles, and he says, "You're pretty pale too, aren't you?" And he reaches out his hand, and he puts it on your forehead, and he's like, "But not cold. Good. I don't have to treat you for any ailments."
Yes, I am as healthy as a horse, as they would say. Though my fair complexion itself is just part of my elven lineage, as they say. However, it is curious. I've only really ever experienced it down here. I wonder if it is something natural or supernatural. But how do you treat that which is supernatural? And he's thinking to himself. He's thinking out loud, but he's just trying to get.
So are you talking about magic per se? Are you adept with magic? I've heard elves have a mysterious way about them. They know magics of the old world.
Yes, some do. I get lucky sometimes. I wouldn't say I necessarily know how to use magic, though it has happened every now and again.
This piques his interest. As he kind of digs deeper into this, he's like, and healing magic. Do you know anything about this? Some say that there are those elves who do wander about, that when they find a wounded traveler alone, they can mend not only wound, but they can also mend spirits too.
Charismatic, I should say. Haha, just like my party. But I only jest. In reality, yes, it is a thing that, especially the older ones. I mean, I'm only 778 years old. By any means, by elven standards, I'm a spring chicken, so I still have a lot to learn. Though I have experienced it once or twice. But how to harness it, I have not harnessed it quite yet. I still have a lot to learn. Curious. However, that still begs to differ. What causes this coolness in death, especially fresh death? Do you have any aside from snake bites? What do you think about such cases? Have you come across it in your travels?
I've seen somebody who's drowned before, and that seems to have fit the description. Typically, someone who drowns, that is in the water, they tend to take on that water. Their skin tends to become pale. They tend to become bloated. They tend to be cold to the touch. Is that what you're talking about? What kind of riddles are you playing? And he
no
he
riddles.
Looks to you and he smiles,
No riddles.
and I'm gonna actually have you make a persuasion or performance check. You can pick.
Well, they're the same. Performance. He's trying to be more of a distraction, so Kyrian can be perceptive, is more of what he's doing. So he's trying to get the eyes all on him, as opposed to on what Kyrian's doing, thinking. So I'll do performance. Come on, please roll something. Nice. 19.
You say that, and immediately kind of this soft smile cracks on Herlin's face, and he says, "Some say the elves are jovial. I think I'm going to enjoy your company. Here, feel free to ride next to us for the duration until Bree." With that, Kyrian, I'm going to have you make a perception check for me.
Another one, or
Yeah, another one, separately.
okay.
So this is like in response to the conversation that's happened.
Ready for this?
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 28.
28.
Oh,
that a
did you get a
natural
nat 20?
No, 19.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That perception. Yes. Okay. So you are not even paying attention much to this conversation. You think Valnith's got this. As you look just to the right, your eyes have focused completely on Barrelass. Barrelass at this point seems to be sitting aside because it's basically like a two-person cart, and so her linen is here and Barrelass is right here on his right side, and you guys are on the left side of them. You see that she seems to be kind of like rubbing like a spot kind of close to her chest, and as you look closer, you can see that she's actually got a tear on her clothes, basically just like right here, just kind of like a single tear that's basically right on her chest, and she seems to be kind of like messing with that, kind of like the hole that is there, and kind of like covering up, but still kind of like trying to like finger and like try to pinch it close. And you can see that she looks deep in thought. She's still kind of weepy, and she actually hasn't acknowledged or even addressed her linen and Valnith's even conversation at all. She is distant. She's about as distant as someone can be in this current circumstance.
Can I ascertain what that clue might point towards?
She seems concerned, as if she is hiding something. It's not the movements of even someone who's just sad or depressed or anything. She seems guilty of something.
Okay. Yes. Could I make some sort of insight check to see whether it would be a good idea to engage her or not?
Sure, make an insight check for me.
20.
20. Perhaps you could. You would have to find a good opportunity to be able to do so. Now, maybe not the time. Perhaps if you stopped for camp, like during the night or something like that, during the evening hours when people are kind of more at ease and they're more used to like having your company with them, that might be a better opportunity. So your time might be better spent trying to ingratiate yourselves with the rest of, so people get more comfortable with you, having you around. Because right now she seems completely in her own head, and an approach probably would stir some kind of attention.
Okay. Can I tell like if the hole is intentional or not? I don't know if that's a weird question.
It looks just torn, so it doesn't look like she's like ripped it. I mean, it looks ripped, but it doesn't look like it was like self-created. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Does the shirt seem to fit her? Like, is she wearing some sort of hand-me-down, or?
The shirt fits her.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like her clothes.
Does it seem like a knife tore it, or like?
No, so it's not
normal
a clean
wear and
cut.
tear.
It's not a clean cut. It looks like it's like been ripped.
Okay.
Like it was like a tug, and it was just like.
Yeah. Keep an eye on her to see if anything else presents itself. And yeah, I'll also just, be my perceptive self of everything else around me too.
Perfect. Valnith, was there anything else that you specifically wanted to talk to Herlinen about?
Well, he's just if he's batting around the bush, he doesn't want to push it too much to seem suspicious. He's just mainly doing this to give distraction so that Kyrian can be perceptive. So I guess what he'll do then, just to make it really seem like he's becoming really good friends with this guy, he'll spend like the next hour or two talking about the herbal remedies, showing him how Valnith does it, like prepares stuff. He takes out some king's foil. He's like, oh yes, in my time, yes, this isn't elven magic. However, this is as magical can be, to be natural, and he's like preparing things, preparing remedies with him, and basically talking shop with him, and trying also to see if he can perceive anything. Like, I guess did he hear anything specifically? Like when Valinith mentioned anything about like the coldness that seemed to like this guy seemed
Make an insight check
sketched
for
out
me.
or like guilty about something.
Make an
I'm gonna
insight
use my
You're good.
advantage on this. Yeah. Insight, you said? Okay. That's not too bad. Let's see. Oh, that's better. Good use of advantage, 19.
Yeah, that seemed to perturb him a little bit. And like he's a guy who's quite eloquent with his words, to be honest. Like you would kind of get the impression that Herlinen is not just like a kind of like a medicine man, but he kind of gives you the impression of like a carnival barker, if that makes sense. Like someone who like is really big and boisterous and can like draw the attention of people, kind of like the art of deception. And so the fact that he isn't immediately quick with his words, and he's like you can tell that he's trying to come up with potential like remedies or reasons why like someone could be cold, dead in cold. And you can tell like he brought up like it just wasn't as smooth as usual. It was very subtle, but you could pick up on that a little bit.
Cool. All right. He has got what he wants, Valinith does. Anyways, that's what he'll do for the next hour or two.
And as that happens, you can at this point, Calefir has made his way to the kind of couple of dwarves, and he's tried to ingratiate himself with the younger ones. Especially, he wants to ingratiate himself with Narvi, which is the youngest one. He's pulled out the toy, and you can hear some kind of like some laughing and just jolly chattering as Calefir is asking all kinds of questions about this to Narvi and like picking his brain about it. And you can tell that like Narvi is like in his heyday. He's not quite a child, but he's a very young dwarf. And you can tell that like this is kind of like a magical experience for him, seeing something of such fine craftsmanship. And he explains to him like this is like really like impressive craftsmanship. Something far beyond that what he would, and you hear specifically, this is something far beyond what I would be able to afford.
So it's expensive. Interesting.
The day wanders on as you have your opportunities to converse with some of kind of these people that are on your list of people to talk to. And the evening begins to set in. You stop by the side of the road, and Kyrian, I'm actually going to have you make a nature check for me.
Nice. Is this... We're still in my known lands, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, but I'm not tracking anything. Am I tracking something?
You're not specifically tracking anything, no. It's more kind of like setting up camp and like seeing kind of like the safety of like the area. So I guess it could be kind of tracking.
24.
24. This is a very safe place probably for the evening. This place has been used a lot by travelers. There's kind of some pseudo like stone fortifications that are set up on two sides. One, but it's like open on the road and then open on the side that goes kind of northward, and so you're parked kind of on the northern side here, ish. Right before, basically, you would have to wander probably about 20 minutes, and you would start to get into the Midgewater marshes. But this place seems pretty dry. There's not a lot of trees or shelter or whatnot, but this seems like a pretty good place. And actually, Adoric seems very grateful for you for scouting out and seeing any signs of potential danger. You seem to have proven yourself as a reliable companion in this company. And Adoric specifically seems like he wants to talk to you a little bit more, Kyrian. But as you set things up for the night, the fire kind of is set, and many of the dwarves have started to get to work by skewering some meat from the caravan and propping it up. It seems like they're the ones who are in charge of cooking as well for this caravan. evening kind of settles and everyone takes their place. A lot of the ponies and horses and stuff, they're a little bit outside of the main portion of the camp, but there's going to be a rotation of people to watch the animals for the evening in the night, as far as that goes. But right now, everybody's kind of gathered for some food and for some dinner. So if there's anybody that you want to talk to specifically, now is your opportunity.
Well, Valinith wants to mention to Kyrian kind of like the vibe he got from. I mean, we don't have to roleplay it necessarily, but he basically wants to say that hurling in when he mentioned it was just like, oh yeah, there's something there. I don't know if it was just a little bit suspicious based off of what he saw, based off of this, how he reacted. So he wants to say that to Kyrian. Did you see anything of interest?
Well, I was noticing an air of guilt about Everlast. She was playing at a shirt that seemed to be ripped.
And Valinith immediately, scratches his chin and he says, "The night before, she was playing with some sort of medallion around her neck, some sort of necklace. I didn't want to poke and pry at it. I wonder if that has something to do with it."
Do you think it could be what we found on... Blanking on his name. What's the dude's name?
Terry Mack.
Which dude?
Terry Mack. Malor.
Could it... Go ahead, continue.
I did notice, that she's not wearing said medallion anymore.
Or brooch or whatever it was. I don't remember.
She had a chain around her neck. I would say that with that 28, you would definitely be able to notice that she had a chain around her neck.
Okay.
Can I assume that we've all met up for this conversation?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
as well?
Everyone's kind of gone and started doing their separate things, and so you definitely have opportunity to sit down and kind of like your little cohort, your group, to have this conversation.
Okay. Theodric's going to mention that he doubts Owen has anything to do with this.
How is that, lad? He seems very chipper. Very jumpy.
He's head over heels for... What's her name again?
Everlast.
He's head over heels for Everlast, and kind of well, you know how young boys are. They're kind of obsessed with being heroes and going on adventures.
But innocent, to say the word, at least. Yeah.
Yes, innocent and naive would be very apt descriptions for Owen. Earnest.
Yes, I don't think he is top of our list of suspects. If any had anything to do with it, I think it was by mere association or accident.
Admittedly, he did claim that he'd be willing to kill for Everlast, but that just sounds like the romantic nonsense that young boys find bolstering.
Yes. Did we not also speak similar lies in our youth?
Well, and he seems skittish to me. He doesn't seem like he would be bold enough, even in a situation like that, at least not right now, to enact on that. He says it, but does that mean he would actually...
No.
I doubt very much.
And somehow I doubt that even with the element of surprise, he could take a ranger.
Yes, unless some evil force possessed him in the moment, I think he is in the clear.
It's still curious. So you say that Everlast was messing. That's funny. That's a good one. But you said Everlast was messing with her neck, and you said it was torn.
Yes.
Per se, it makes
could
me
have been
wonder.
in a skerfuffle, as they say in the Bree.
Because she seemed very protective of what was around her neck the night before. I didn't want to bring attention to it. I thought it was just a family heirloom of sorts. However, I know that, but that also begs to differ. I kind of fell asleep. I know you were up that night. Did you notice anything odd between the two of them? Did they?
Well, they did go outside and talk about. DM, remind me exactly how that went.
So they,
that
in the
conversation.
evening, they went outside, and Barrelas was weeping when she left. Like, quietly, she was weeping. And they made their way outside for about 15 minutes. And all that you know is when they came back in, they were followed by kind of a cold breeze. But they seemed to go right back upstairs to their rooms when they did so. There was, I mean, it's weird that they went out like at like 1 a.m. But at the same time, from what you noticed, they didn't seem to be bloody or roughed up or like anything like that either. They just seemed to like have gone out in kind of like the soft rain, had a conversation, and came back.
Nice.
I know. It
I will
seems like
relay
there's
that
maybe a little bit more to
information.
it than that, but that's basically pretty much all that you
Yeah.
discussed.
I'll relay that information. She
just
seemed
curious.
disturbed and upset to the point of crying. However, she was
She's not
followed
a
by
woman.
There's something
the same
peculiar.
cold. It was the same cold that was on Terry Mac.
Yes, perhaps. Perhaps they were just in proximity to the true killer. But let us think, Theodric and Valinith, the things that we have at our disposal. We have how many days till we get to Bree?
I'll be right back, but days to Bree, you about have 1 day left. So basically, like 1 day of travel, a night, and then the morning of the next day, you'll be in Bree. But keep talking. I'll be right back.
I think we have made some progress in forming some relationships, forging some bonds amongst these folk. But I think we also have to think about what we have at our disposal to perchance draw out some tells to see who amongst them is guilty. I've already flagged Barrelas as one of them. I know we have the dwarven toys that we could perchance use to investigate some of the dwarves. I know we have
Speaking of
the...
which, it seems Calefir was having a jolly good time with the dwarf he was talking to.
Ah, yes, perhaps we should check in with him when he is done peeing. In the woods. That's where he's at.
Calefir comes back from the woods, buttoning up his belt.
There he is. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this next time. And
Don't
I hand
worry,
him
I
a
took
sword.
Rothian with me.
Oh.
We both had to go. We were watching each other's backs.
Oh, good. Yes, we were just discussing our resources we have at hand, because the evidence at the scene of the crime was this, what was it, a brooch, an emblem?
It was a necklace. It wasn't like a brooch. It was a pendant.
He had it in his hand, right?
Yeah, Valnith noticed.
Was that?
Oh, on
Yeah.
what's his bucket?
On more,
Terry Mac.
Terry Mac.
Yeah, Terry
Mac. Yeah, on Terry Mac. Do we have that still, or did we bury that with him? I can't
No,
remember.
I think we still have it.
You remember you
I
picked it up
definitely
thinking it potentially had shadow, so it's like
A
wrapped.
silver
It's like a
G brooch. That's right. That's right, because I thought maybe
Maybe
it
we
had
could
to do with
ask about
Gandalf,
this.
but it did not.
Forget. Maybe we could ask about this later on.
Do any of us know a grand tale of Galadriel and I'm asking this to the group, of Galadriel or Gandalf or some such person that we could perchance bring up the letter G, a brooch, to try to bring out something in someone?
Does Valinith know anything about that? That could be.
I'm gonna have all three of you, and then Calefir, make traditions checks for me.
Perchance Gilgalad?
I got a
Lord
big
God.
fat 7.
Got a nat
4.
Sorry.
or a 1.
Oh my gosh! Come on, Kyrian. You're
Sorry.
our only.
No, not
Wait,
Kieran.
wait,
No, it's just
traditions
three.
or history?
It
What
was
are
three.
we doing?
Oh yeah, Kieran, yours is gonna be traditions.
Tradition.
Yeah.
Tradition.
That was solid from all of us, guys.
What was Theodric's?
7.
And then what was yours, Valinith?
4.
And then a natural 1 for Caleb here.
14.
14.
Oh,
Curious.
God.
Yes, actually, one specifically that pops up in your mind is the tale of the wandering elves led by Gildor and Glorian. They're known to be around these parts.
I will help you bear this burden.
Forests to the south of the Greenway, and they are known healers and known for basically very close. You've actually met Gildor on a couple of opportunities, and this might be like the mystery of the elves in the region. It would not be uncommon to bring up Gildor's name, particular to specifically Bree people, Breelanders.
Is Gildor the one that Frodo runs into on his
Yes.
way out of the Shire?
Yep.
Nice. Cool.
We also have Gildor, and this is party-wide. Everyone should know it. But basically, when he was talking to, oh my gosh, I forget her name back in Rivendell, the elf that we saved. She was of the party of Gildor, and she says, "I have like a note with me, and basically, if we need help in that region, look for Gildor, and he could actually like be of use because we're friends to him, because we're friends to her. So." Got connections with
The
him.
Gondrel connection.
The Gondrel connection, yeah. Yes.
I'm not much of a storyteller, but if I'm the only one that knows one, perhaps I'll have to take the lead on this one. All right, well. Anyone else have any
What
stories
about-
of dwarven toys,
what about-
perhaps?
What about Calefear? Calefear is from Gondor. That starts with a G, doesn't it?
That's a good point. But I don't think this is a Gondorian G that we found.
Oh.
Can I ascertain if this... Sorry, that's like my word of the day. If this G is... It was in Elvish, right? It's an
No, it was not in Elvish. It was in a common speech. But basically
Like
Jack.
the G itself.
Jack says that it seems to be of like a higher class like sigil. It doesn't seem to be just like a common sigil that like a normal family in Bree would have. Like this would be like a higher class, like more known family probably. Whoever this belonged to.
I see. Okay.
Well, if you don't mind, I could always just ask Owen about it.
Oh. Well, yes, the young lad could prove to be useful. That's for
Yes,
sure.
he seems
Gee.
to have. He knows a lot of people in Bree, apparently. It's how he got the job on this caravan.
Oh, nepotism.
Yes, that is self-proclaimed nepotism. He did admit to that.
Yes, Theodric. Perchance without showing him, because I don't want to show our hand just yet. But perhaps you could coax him into talking about it.
And
Okay.
with that,
I'll give that a try later.
Great.
And with that, Calefear, he says, yeah, you mentioned something about the dwarven toys. In fact, Narvi, he goes by Narvi the Young in his company. He seemed to be really impressed with it. I hope you don't mind, but I kind of gave it to him. He asked for it, and so I gave it to him. But he said that it seemed quite valuable and quite well made. He was very much examining the quality of it, and in trade, he actually offered me some of his dwarven spirits. I don't really drink that much as far as into kind of some of that stuff that I'm quite unsure of. I always like to keep a straight mind, if that makes sense. And so I just gave it to him. But he looked around and he says, I caught him playing with it earlier this evening, and he looks towards the fire to see like the dwarves doing their thing. And as you guys kind of like turn around to look to see what the dwarves are doing, you can actually tell that Narvi is deep in chat and conversation with Herlinin, actually, and showing the toy and everything. And actually Narvi has taken his flask of dwarven spirits and has handed it over to Herlinin, and Herlinin is drinking to his heart's content of this dwarven spirits.
Perhaps the dwarven spirits will loosen some tongues this evening.
Calefear says, exactly. I didn't want my tongue to be loose about our potential thoughts on this situation. It's better to keep a right mind.
Can I make a perception check to see where... I keep forgetting her name.
Everlast.
Yeah, where's she while her brother's drinking with the dwarves?
Yeah, I don't think you would need to make a check for that. You would just see her just sitting by the fire.
Thank goodness you didn't make it.
Yeah. You find her basically just like sitting alone by the fire. She seems to be kind of curled up with her back against one of the stones and with her like hands outstretched, like trying to find warmth. In that.
Okay. Cool. Do I see Owen?
Owen is right now taking care of the animals, and so he is a little bit outside of the camp, but there is a small lantern that's lit over there as he's kind of like carrying it like on his back as he's walking around and making sure that the animals are all fed and taken care of.
Is she looking longingly at Owen?
No, she's not looking longingly at Owen. She's looking depressed at the
Tragic.
fire.
All right.
Damn. It's okay. We'll help him.
All right. I think we have a good sense of what needs to be done. And I will stand up and walk over towards the fire with my pipe. And I'll take a stick and put it in the fire and start lighting my pipe, whatever. Hope you don't mind. I just need a quick smoke. Do you smoke as well? Want a draft?
Verlass?
Yes,
Specifically?
Verlass.
Verlass, she kind of looks up to you and she says, "Oh, no, thank you. I'm quite warm, I would say." As she kind of moves a little bit closer to the fire. Although one of the dwarves, actually, the other younger dwarf, says, "Oi, if you're offering some pipeweed, I'll take some."
Of course, my friend.
He takes out his pipe and he says, "Oh, thank you very much." As you begin to pack his pipe, light it for him, and he takes a big kind of... Oh, that's the stuff. This is some real wild stuff, isn't it? What is that? What do I taste? A hint of, lavender. Is that correct?
Ask
got
my
a
elf friend.
fruity bouquet to it.
My elf friend found it. He might know better.
Elvish pipeweed. I've never had this before. He takes a big draft of it and he like lets it out of his nose. And he's actually able to blow some impressive smoke too. And he says, "Oi, let's keep this between us. If my father or my uncle or even my younger brother caught wind of this, I think you would be empty before the night." Bit of some pickpockets, the younger one is.
Who knows? The way you're going through it, I might be empty regardless.
Ha ha ha! 'Tis true, 'tis true. But if it's just the two of us, and he gives you like a heavy wink, it should last us at least the night.
Indeed. Where do you all hail from? Or heading to?
Oi, we're from the Blue Mountains, of course. We, me and my family, and he gestures to the group of them. We tend to travel here and there, picking up many jobs. Quite recently, we've been hired, and he points over to, what's his bucket? Mirabar. We've been hired by Mirabar. Certain situations have led us to be in his service for quite some time. And he kind of looks from left to right, and he says, "He's got the money for days. His pockets leak silver, leak gold." I can't
Doesn't
say he's
look
the
it.
best employer, but we are able to survive this way.
Not much work in forging in the Blue Mountains these days, I take it.
Well, many of our kin have made their way back to Eriador, and that's where much of the weapons and forging have gone. Unfortunately, circumstances, and he again gestures over to Mirabar, have made it so we cannot return to the Lonely Mountain.
I see.
So we do what we can to work to be able to get our freedom.
And what exactly is the nature of your work for him? As guards?
Primarily as guards, and we serve him with whatever he needs.
Ah, like that boy Owen.
Ah, yes, like the wee lad.
Very good. Very good. I'm sure you come across lots of strange folk in this line of work.
There are many strange folk that wander these lands, but none stranger than, and he kind of like gestures a little bit to Barrelass. Barrelass looks up and she just kind of like huddles back like closer. Clearly this dwarf is not being subtle, not even in the slightest. Narvig is the one you're talking to, by the way.
Got it. I see. Ah, yes, well, I have been saddled with that reputation myself.
Have you? Are you one for keeping secrets? And he blows a big smoke ring up into the sky.
You could say that.
Are you quiet, stealthy?
I will, question. Can I attempt to, like, pickpocket him or, like, in some way show him without, like, saying it?
Make a sleight of hand check.
Nice. Oh. 11.
11. You're able to pull out what looks to be a small silver ring. You basically put it up in front of him. This is something that you nicked from his pocket. Or not pocket, off of his finger, actually, during this conversation.
Amazing.
He looks and his eyes grow wide and
Tell
he's
me.
like, I have a ring just like that. And he looks down to his hand and he sees that it's gone. And he's just like, hi. I see. And he offers his hand out to have it back.
Yeah, I'll give it back to him.
And he puts it back on his pinky. And he says, that answers my question, which brings us to, what is a ranger like you doing out? Simply investigating a murder, or are you... What is your and your group's plan? Not every day do I see men and elves wandering together.
As always, we seek to keep the free folk safe from the things in the wild that would threaten their way of existence. This is part of a long journey toward that end.
I see. So, orcs and goblins and... I mean, I could tell from just the outset that you're a group of warriors, and so... It's a noble work, isn't it?
One might say so, yes.
I'm gonna have you make an insight check.
18.
Seems to be losing interest in this conversation.
Yes. Ah, yes, but enough about me. I'll take out the. I see your friend over there is. In our adventures, we've come across many of your kind's good work. Do you yourself dabble in such things?
How do you mean?
Toy making, forging, the things that the dwarves are most proud of. I see that you are well capable, as most of your kind are in your stature, but of defending yourselves and others. But I My knowledge of the dwarves is that their pride is much more in what they can fashion with their hands than cleave with their blades.
Well, I can't say that I've dabbled in a little bit of woodwork. Have you showed him like the ship?
Yeah, I gestured over toward it.
Yeah. He's like, I have dabbled in woodwork, but I've never seen anything quite like this. My father, as he gestures over to Vig, who is finishing up with the cooking. Well, my father, you see, he is much more of a crafter than either my brother and I. As we were growing up, we have been spending much of our time on the road, and we haven't really learned much craft other than what we can with a sword and with an axe. That is, the best of us actually was, and he points over to the largest dwarf with basically the warhammer on his back. He's just like sitting squat in front of the fire, just kind of like looking straight ahead. Well, that was before our uncle Vogar. He whispers, he's like, you say you're good at keeping secrets.
I nod.
He looks to Everlast and he says, come walk with me, let's have a smoke.
I will walk. And kind of, as I can, keep Everlast in my line of sight as much as possible.
And Valinith, you see the two of them get up and begin to wander off. Theodric, at this point, I'm assuming you've wandered off to go talk to Owen as well. Cool.
Yes, I'm going to go talk to Owen.
Let's go ahead and jump to that conversation really quickly. As you dismiss yourself, Kyrian, with Narvik. And so you make your way over to the horses and the ponies and whatnot, and you see Owen looking at basically like talking to himself, almost as if he's like going through some kind of like rehearsal for a degree, and you hear him say, and with this I pledge my love to you. And you can see that he's holding what looks to be a small flower, like a wild flower, in his hands. And he's just like, no, that sounds stupid. Come on, Owen.
Oh, Owen, yes! Yes, a million times, yes!
He looks back surprised hearing this, and he's just like, ah! And he like takes the flower and he tucks it inside his vest, and he says, oh, hi, Theodric. And he buttons up the top button. He says, sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous.
That's okay. Nerves would be a little bit expected.
You can see that he's visibly shaking his hands.
Theodric's just gonna be like, okay, deep breath in. No, I said deep breath. Deep breath.
I don't have
And now
very
hold
big
it.
lung capacity.
Okay. Hold it. And out. There we go. There's the lad.
He's just very nervously like breathing, like everything that he does makes just like these like awkward noises as he's prepared, but you can tell that he is a wreck at the moment.
Oh, and I have to ask, how long have you known Everlast?
Well, I mean, she's been part of our company for almost 2 weeks at this point. But the moment I laid eyes on her, I knew that she was the one that I loved. She was the one that I knew that I was destined to be with. When you know, right? You know?
I mean, I don't personally know. Honestly, I think out of our company, Kyrian's the only one who's had a romantic relationship.
He nods and he says, when you feel like this, perhaps one day you'll know where I'm coming from. It almost seems as if this is like a life or death situation. I don't know what I would do if she rejected me.
Oh boy.
You live.
So how many times have you had conversations?
I mean, I've had conversations with her off and on. I know that she likes to find or look at flowers and weeds, which is why, and he pulls out like the wildflower. she had mentioned something about that she really liked King's Cup. And so I found this the other day, and
Can I use a perception check to see if it's the right thing?
yes.
Actually, without the perception
He
check,
knows what it looks like.
I would
He's
know
used
because I've
King's
used
Cup,
it before, and I've been traveling with Valineth long enough.
I would
Yeah.
say make a nature check for me.
Okay, nature check.
Does he feel lucky?
18. That's much better than the perception.
It is a King's Cup. It looks old. This was probably picked a week ago.
Okay.
And it looks like it's been like in his vest, like taken, like kind of crumpled a little bit. It's not the prettiest looking King's Cup. It is a King's Cup though.
Yeah.
Okay. How hard is King's Cup to find?
It's pretty difficult. to
Valineth's
find.
got a lot of it. Valineth's
Okay.
got a milljillion of them.
Yeah, would yours look any better than this one?
Valineth's a man of class and sophistication.
That's not a yes.
He's not here. He's not here. He is not here, so you'd have to ask.
Okay. Okay. First of all, we need to get your nerves a little sorted. Second,
Don't
I'm
worry.
gonna check
And
with-
he goes over to the wagon and he takes a chunk of dried meat and he takes a big bite of it and he's just like actively like chewing through it.
Not exactly what I meant, but you do you. Second of all, I'm gonna sneak off and ask Valineth if he's got a fresher bit of King's Cup. Because as much as
I picked
it
this
is
with
handpicked,
love.
it is also very crumpled.
He looks down at it and he looks back up to you and he says, "Point taken."
I mean, we could look for some, but it is a rather difficult herb to find. If I make another nature check, would I know if there would be any in the area? That's a
Yeah,
long
I'm gonna
shot,
say
right?
with disadvantage you can make a nature check.
Okay, because I'm not the herb guy. That's Valineth. Oh, a 3. The other one was a 17.
I mean, it would be difficult to find exactly what you were looking for, but especially in the dark.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like it would be nice to find it yourself, but that's a bit crumpled and it's very dark. We'll just ask Valineth nicely, because that one would still be good for medicine, but if you want something that looks nice, we'll have to get something a bit fresher, I'd say.
He says, "Wait, maybe I've got a plan." And he like nervously like walks over to you and he says, "If you are able to get me a fresh King's Cup, maybe we can." And he goes kind of like looks off into the distance, like a little bit north of like the location. He says, "Maybe we can put it there, and I can maybe speak with Everlast, saying, 'Hey, let's go find some herbs,' and then we can go over there, and then I can pick it like I picked it myself. I think that would really impress her."
I think she might realize when there's no other King's Cup around. But do you have any... Maybe you could set up something like a picnic and surprise her with that.
Do you think she likes dried meat? As he grabs his basket and shows
It's
you. It's
worth a
basically
try.
just all kinds of like salamis and like
What do I have
it's
in
not
my
like bad quality meat. It's
It's
like
not bad quality meat.
good stuff. Very
The
salty.
meat man cometh.
Where is my backpack?
Make a nice charcuterie.
Do not call him the meat man. That's so mean.
Yeah,
Well-
get some cheese and
Do you
crackers.
know the meat man?
Yeah, look, at this point, yeah, like, you'll eat anything on the road, right? So, like, some nice meats, maybe you can throw down a blanket or something and give her the King's Cup.
And maybe if I can get some of the dwarven spirits that are companions. And he looks over. She's of age, right? As he thinks.
I think so, but you're not, so...
That's okay. I have some milk. He goes and he grabs basically like.
Okay,
this,
let's not do the milk. That's That might be off-putting.
But whenever I feel nervous, a warm glass of milk always seems to calm my nerves.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna be really nervous in this
Babe.
situation. Look at me, I'm not even talking to her, and you see his hands, and they're just shaking.
Okay. I'm gonna put a hand on his shoulder and just be like, okay, you need to calm down, okay? I've never been in love, but I know it's not the end of the world if she says no. You're still young.
You don't know what you're saying. It will be the end of my world.
No, because you're still young. Like, I think you've got a good shot. But
There is
like, you've just
another.
gotta be-
There is no other bear lass in this world.
No, but there are other women, you know. Like,
don't
I'm
want other
don't
women.
get me
I
wrong.
want-
I'm
And he's just like-
100% supporting you.
I know. And he
Okay.
grabs the
Okay.
milk and he just takes a
Okay.
deep sip. Big milk mustache, and he's just
Okay.
like,
Wipe that off first of all. You've got the mustache. Good. Did that calm you a little?
I think so.
Okay. Cool.
We need to do this quick. I think I'm a little lactose intolerant.
Oh God. Why would you? Okay. Okay. So you set up a blanket and get the meat in a basket or something at the picnic spot. Maybe just tidy yourself up a little bit if you can. Like, I don't know.
He goes in, like, in the caravan, he pulls out, like, a nice little, he takes off, like, kind of like his worn travel vest, and there's, like, one that's, like, not much nicer, but a little bit nicer, and he puts that, and he kind of buttons it back up.
Okie dokie. I'm going to go talk to Valineth real quick about that King's Cup. And maybe I'll see if we have a spare bottle of wine or something.
He shakes his head, and he says, okay, I think I'm ready. Theodric, do you mind, watching the animals while I go on my date? And he, like, winks.
Yes. I can do that.
Okay.
Oh no. That's gonna
So,
be-
and with that, I go off to talk to Valineth about the King's Cup.
Did you bring the crumpled one with you?
Yes, yes, I brought
All
the
right.
crumpled one with me.
Oh, Theodric. Oh, it seems you've got a very sad-looking King's Cup, but hey, it doesn't matter what it looks like, does it? I will take it. And Valen just
Yes.
grabs it.
Okay, could we trade that for a nice-looking one?
A nice-looking one, and he's like, "Oh, welcome to my shop," and he pulls open his coat like this.
What
And
do you
he's just
buy?
like, "Yeah, what do you
Okay.
buy?" And
Can-
he's got
can-
a nice selection. He's got some nice aged-looking ones that aren't crumpled, but they're aged. He's got his newest pick of newer ones that he got this just a couple of days ago. He's like, "Oh yes, and I can make whatever you want out of it, and whatever suits you. I can make a nice corsage. I can make a flower headband. Remember when we did that with Jess? Yes, I could do all kinds of
That
things
was
with
good.
these, like a balloon animal."
I'm just going to point at the most colorful and bright one,
Yeah.
and just be like, "Could I just have that one, please?"
Yes. Do you want me to do something special with it?
No, just as it is fine.
Oh, okay. If you're sure, it wouldn't take but 2 seconds. And Valineth whips it out of his pocket, and he's just like, "Oh yes, replacing a king's cup for a king's cup.
It's
What's
it's
good
for
fortune?
Owen. It's for Owen. Yeah.
I see.
Also, do we have
Good luck,
Liquid like Harry Potter. It's like
Right?
that's the thing of the bonus to luck.
right? And
Good
do we
luck
have
to him.
do we have like any watered down wine or anything?
Oh, let's see. Valineth will look through his stores because he doesn't know. I don't think he carries that kind of thing. He's like, "I have some of that soup from the night before. Will that do?"
kept it?
from the inn.
You-
No, I didn't. I didn't even get any. I don't think he gave it to us for free, didn't he?
I think he
I
did.
don't remember. I don't know. Valineth doesn't. He's got some old Toby.
Ooh,
No,
Calefear
no.
might actually. Calefear's probably here.
Okay. Well, I've taken the
Yeah,
King's
yeah.
Cup and I've turned to Calefear and be like, "Do we have anything to drink? Otherwise, Owen's going to offer her milk."
I have a bottle of just normal wine, or not bottle.
That'll
wine
do.
Skin. It's not really fancy. It's just in a wine skin.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind.
No. As I mentioned, I'm planning to keep a clear head tonight. As he
Okay. And
hands you over his
Theodric's
wine.
going to go to his pack and pull out 2 cups. Actually, no. The caravan's with
Yeah,
Owen,
Caravan
right?
has like that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Kyrian notices all this and is just like, "What's happening?"
Okay, I have an idea, right? For one, I'm helping Owen try to get a bit of confidence and confess. But at the same time, Owen is very disarming. He's very earnest, and you feel bad for him. So I'm hoping that she might... I'm going to eavesdrop on them, out of concern for Owen, but also she might let slip something
Oh.
important.
Yeah.
You know?
I like it.
You know, like,
At the
maybe.
cost of his young heart.
Look, I'm hoping things turn out well for him, but he's 15. He'll get over it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. I like it.
Good. I like it. I like it.
You
And
do it,
I'm
do
just
it.
like from afar. Kirian's just like, the young.
By the way, Kyrian, you didn't have any more old Toby. You used the last of that stack of old Toby.
yeah.
So whatever you gave that dwarf, I'm not sure what you
My
gave.
Just some
regular
regular
stores.
probably.
No,
Yeah,
no.
just
It's
some
the
pocket
herbs
pipe.
of the wild. Just
Yeah.
the
It's
herbs.
got
It was
the
just
lavender
straight up
with
lavender.
Just some pocket lint.
It
no,
just
so-
actually was some lavender. I just,
It's good.
So Theodric's going to take the fresh King's Cup, fresh quote-unquote King's Cup, and the wine, and return to Owen.
Owen has got everything put together in kind of like this nice kind of straw basket. And he looks to you and he says, oh, any luck?
Yes, and I hand him the King's Cup.
He looks his eyes wide. It's like twice the size of the one that he did have. And he grabs it. He says, yes. Yes, this will be perfect. As he takes
Right.
it and he puts it inside at the very top of the, like very daintily,
And
the top of the basket.
has he got like cups and stuff in the picnic basket?
He does, yeah. They're like kind of
I
like
hand
these
him-
heavy like lead tankards.
I hand him the wineskin. I'm like, okay, look, I'm just going to be honest. Don't drink too much of this. Last thing you want to do is get drunk around her.
He
Not
shakes
many
his
women
head.
like drunks. But, you know,
Although
it'll be fine.
Adoric said that the spirits are like liquid courage.
That's for battle and dwarves, like not for you and me. The last time I got drunk, I almost threw up on an elven king. So don't
Make a
do that.
persuasion check.
Can I
You
have
say
that?
Elven King, and his eyes are just like, what?
Can I have that at advantage because it's a true story?
Yeah, 100%.
That is a 12.
It was Thandrul, by the way, Cole.
oh, nice. The nice green-skinned, long-legged,
Yep.
from
Yep,
the
from
Hobbit
from the animated version.
yeah. That's
He looks to you and he's like, I know, I need to be responsible. This is a big night. I can't go losing my mind. Okay.
Good.
I think I'm ready. As you could tell that he's just like pumping himself up. He grabs the basically the bottle of milk and he gives one last like swig.
Okay. Maybe if you're lactose intolerant, no more milk for the night. Yeah.
I mean, I have been a little bit gassy. I don't know. So I think Adoric mentioned that I might be lactose intolerant. I'm not sure.
Okay.
though.
We'll just hold that in. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that. You know that. Good luck. And
Thanks.
Theodric claps him on the back.
He goes, and he lets out like this long, drawn out, nervous, and then he kind of straightens up a little bit. He picks up the basket, and he walks over to the campfire, and you see him pass Valinith as he makes his way over to Berlas, and he says something quietly. Berlas, can I talk to you? I brought some food. This is some special food from the caravan. Don't worry, you don't need to pay anything. But I would really like to, now that her linen's busy, maybe just have a conversation. I feel like we could be good friends. And Berlas looks up at him. She's kind of like, not dour demeanor, but she looks up and she kind of like lets a soft smile and she says, what do you got there? And Owen says, and he opens like the top of it and of the basket and he says, actually some special meat for my collection. It's from the Prancing Pony. I don't have enough for everyone, so maybe just the two of us. And she says, well, why not? And she stands up and she kind of pats off her basically travel clothes and follows him a little bit away from the campfire. You can see them going a little bit a ways with his lantern still on like his back, and they are far enough away, not like too far, but to have a little bit of privacy as they sit and begin to have their conversation.
How far away from is the picnic site from where we've kept all the animals?
You definitely wouldn't be able to eavesdrop from here, but they're definitely within sight still.
Can I assume my conversation I can kind of wrap up at
You
this
want to do
point.
that really, have that conversation real quick?
Sure.
Okay. And so
No. I was just saying, like, I want to tail them stealthily.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're having this conversation with Narvik as you begin to smoke, and his demeanor kind of immediately begins to turn to business, and he says, so I know that ranger folk tend to not have a great reputation in Bree. Is that correct?
Depends on who you ask.
Well, I for one say, as a traveler of these roads, I have great respect for the ranger folk and their protection of the free peoples. It makes my job much easier, so I have to thank you for that. And he gives you kind of this long, deep bow.
I nod back in his direction.
I also know that rangers have, they have a duty to protect the lesser people, as you had mentioned.
I don't believe I used those exact words.
Well, between us, me and my family, we've kind of fallen on some hard times.
Go on.
You see, we are, indentured servants to, and he, gestures back to Mirabar, to the man from Dorvinian. When, my uncle... Well, first, let me backtrack all the way to the beginning of where our plight first started. We've been on the road with this man for near 6-ish years. Actually, my father, and he gestures over to Vig. He originally was going to be a part of the famous Thorin's company to reclaim Erebor. However, my uncle, his brother, Vogar, he fell on some difficult times. My father and Vogar, they were great warriors. And, we were on a job protecting a caravan. And that is, there was a great orc in their midst. The battle was fought hard, but it wasn't without its losses. We lost half of the caravan of those we were trying to protect, but more importantly than that, Vogar, my uncle, received a grievous wound. And he gestures basically like on his face, that giant scar that's on his face. An orcish scimitar embedded itself right into his iron skull. He hasn't been able to speak much since. And he has a temper. The only one who can even seem to speak sense to him is my father, Vig. But his wounds were grievous, and we needed him to be treated. We came to Bree looking for help. And that's when we met this fellow, Mirabar. He gave us what we needed in order to afford medicine to be able to treat my uncle. It was expensive medicine, expensive work. It saved my uncle's life. And we haven't been able to pay back the debts to Mirabar. And it seems like we're not going to be doing it anytime soon. With the wages that we make, even between my brother and my father and I, it'll be years before we're free of this servitude. And so, we plan to rid ourselves of him. Not killing him, per se. Not if it comes down to it. But he has plenty of riches. Plenty of them. You're a stealthy folk. If you are there to help the free people, help free us so we can have our freedom. So we can return home to Erebor.
See what I can.
Ranger are good folk. And he holds out his hand. Let us know if you can help in any way. But my father cannot know. He is a proud dwarf.
Wouldn't like it any other way. I will. I will consider this. And I will see what I can do.
Thank you, Ranger. The name is Narvik, by the way. At your service.
Ah, and Kyrian, at yours.
With that, your conversation comes to an end, and you begin to wander back towards the fire as you see Everlast and Owen make their way.
Sorry, what was his name again?
Narvik.
Narvik. Thanks.
As
Does
the
that just mean son of Vig? Cool.
and you see that Everlast and Owen are still at the campsite, but making their way to depart northward towards
Cool.
their destination.
I drop into stealth mode.
Make a
Tail
stealth check
them.
for me.
Cool. Oh, okay. Can it be at advantage because it's like dark and I know these lands?
Is the help option a thing in AMA?
It is.
Can I help him by making a, not exactly a show off, but like by being as loud as possible while moving to look after the animals? Would that help by like muffling
I would
his
say
noise?
you could get advantage for that.
Nice. Synergy.
23.
Kyrian, you begin to drop into stealth mode and tail. Your hood goes up, and you all but disappear into the night as you, again, you know these lands, so you know the good places to be able to hide. Close enough to where you're hiding kind of the tall grass on kind of the edge of these marshes, the Midgewater marshes. As you see the two of them sit down, he has this, basically this linen blanket that he folds out, and he puts the lantern down so that they have light to be able to see. And Owen, you can see that he's a little bit nervous and a little bit shaking. He says, well, Everlast, which meat do you like? And he digs through and he pulls out basically like this salami. He pulls out like this cured ham. He pulls out basically what looks to be like this aged like chuck of like beef. And he puts it down and she's like, oh wow, you weren't kidding. I'll have some of this. And she gestures to the cured ham as he pulls out basically like a knife and begins to slice a piece, and he puts it on a plate and gives it to her, and he says, she sat down at this point, and she says, oh, and it looks like you've got some wine, and she grabs a cup and she pours a little bit for Owen, and then some for herself too, and she says, wow, this is quite the spread. What's the occasion? As she begins to kind of just enjoy herself as she begins to eat. And Owen, he, again, still standing, he hasn't sat down where she, and he's like, you see, well, part of the reason that I've put you out here is your friendship means a lot to me. And she looks up and she's like, "Oh, you think we're friends? Well, that's nice. Sure, I can be your friend, Owen." And,
friend zone.
Owen looks, and his
Bruh.
face goes bright red, and he says, "And that's the thing. I've noticed for the past couple of weeks, you've been kind of dour. I just want to ask, is everything okay with the company? I haven't done anything to make you upset, have I?" And Everlast, she kind of stops like mid-drink, and she puts her cup down, and she kind of gives like kind of this soft, reassuring smile, and she says, "Oh, I'm just having some own personal problems, I guess. Nothing for you to be too worried about." And she continues to sip, and he drops down to a knee,
What?
Owen, and he digs into his basket, and he pulls
Now
out
isn't the
the
time.
king's cup, and he says, "Well, I noticed that you and your brother," and she like looks and she says, "Oh, her linen's not my brother," and that kind of stops Owen for a bit, and he's just like, "Oh, wait, are you married?" And Barrelast says, No, nothing like that. He is just simply my business partner, my traveling companion, but we're pretty close. We go a little while back. But Owen, you could tell that there's like this deep sigh of relief, like, and he has like the flower kind of like behind like his back. He's still on his knee, and he says, "Oh, that's good to know." Barrelast is like, "Is it?" And you can tell she's a little amused at this point at like this whole like what's going down. And Owen, he like gets again, his face is bright red and he's all flustered, and he says, "Oh, if I might ask, where's your brooch? It was really pretty, but and Barrelast looks down, and she kind of basically tries to cover it, and she's like, "Oh, I lost it at the inn. Kind of in the chaos of like leaving and everything in the morning. I must have got caught on something. When I return, I'll make sure to ask Jack and maybe reclaim it then." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, it was. I hope you find it. Maybe we can go back together and we can look for it together." And Barrelast, she says, "Maybe, Owen, but don't you have a job to be doing?" And Owen says, "Our next caravan isn't for some time. We can maybe stop in Bree, and the next day we can go back to the Forsaken Inn." And Barrelast says, Okay. It's maybe a little soon for all of that. Let's just focus on one thing at a time." And Owen says, "I understand. Barrelast, the real reason I brought you out here was, and he lets out like a nervous sigh, and he does his best to
I
muster
want it
himself up.
known that I have drawn my dagger just in case.
Okay.
No. It might be worth it just to rescue him from this.
Broken heart. He says, and
Or to save yourself from the secondhand cringe.
he looks down at the ground, and he slowly looks up
Read the room, bro.
into her eyes, and he gazes deep and longingly into her eyes. And
Oh
he says,
no.
"I know we've only known each other for but 2 weeks, but these 2 weeks have been paradise. I've never been happier in my entire life, just to look upon your face." He pulls out the flower, and he sniffs it. "And this king's cup. I know it's your favorite." And he kind of swirls it around as if to waft the scent. "I picked it special for you. Barrelast. And he leans forward and he puts it in her hair, right behind the ear.
Yeah.
I know I'm young. Younger than you. But Baralas, if you would give me a chance, would you? And he looks away for a moment and looks back, attempting a kind of smolder.
Ooh.
Will you be my girlfriend?
No.
I'm gonna have you, Kyrian, make an insight check for me.
Oh man. 12.
Surprisingly, Baralas is not taking this as bad as a secondhand cringes. Maybe it's the fact that like they're far away and there's not like audience potentially watching.
That they know of.
She hesitates and she says, "Oh, this is very pretty. Wow, this is quite a mature one. When did you have the time to pick this or find it?" And she shakes her head and she takes it out of her hair and she's just holding it in her hand and she says, "Owen, I don't know how to say this to you, but I'm kind of busy these days. You're so young. You've got so much left to experience before you settle down, don't you?" And Owen, he says, still just as confident as ever, he says, "But I know what I want.
Yeah.
No.
The moment I laid eyes on you, Baralas, the Lady of the Wood." She is of woodman descent, from the basic gist that you can guess from this.
Okay. Where would that be, like, regionally?
Yeah, it's in Wilderland. So, like, Wilderland, like, in the Eaves of Mirkwood, kind of.
Okay. Noted.
I've never met such a radiant beauty in my entire life, and I knew from the moment that I set eyes on you that you were the one for me, Baralas. I can't even fathom living another day in this world without you by my side, without you in my sight. And Baralas, she stands up and she says, "Owen," and she grabs his hands and has him stand up too with her. I want you to know that I think you are very brave. And that is a really good quality that any man should have. But I don't take this the wrong way, Owen. I don't really know you. And Owen, just his face, devastated. And he shakes it off and he says, "But I do know you." And she lets go of his hands and she kind of takes a step back. And she kind of goes back into kind of like her like closed off self again, her hand like on her chest, kind of in this similar like neck area. And she says, "But that's the thing. This is really kind of the first real conversation we've ever had, Owen. I mean, don't get me wrong, you are really good at what you do. You're amazing with the animals, and you're an amazing help to Eadoric, and you've been great company to have. But I don't really think of you that way, Owen. You're kind of more like my little brother, if that makes sense."
Yeah.
And Owen says, "Oh, if I was bigger like Theodric, would that change things?" And she like racks her mind, like you can tell like she's actively trying to think like Theodric, like who is that? I'm trying to. And And she says, "Oh, the man from Rohan. I mean, he's closer to my age, but it's not about that. Owen, you're still a child." And this strikes him to his core.
Oh.
He falls on his butt, and he puts his head in his hand, and he just says, "I know. And I can't change that. But I can be anything that you want me to be, Everlast."
Oh my gosh. This kid.
Oh man.
And Everlast, she says, she kind of kneels back down, and she says, "I don't want you to change who you are. There is someone out there for you, perhaps someone closer to your age. I'm sorry, but I'm flattered." And she attempts to offer the King's Cup back, and Owen says, "No. Keep it in remembrance of me."
Ugh.
He goes in and he grabs the wineskin and just begins to down the wine
Oh,
that's
no.
inside the wineskin. And he says, "I am a man."
No.
He stands up.
She just
Everlast,
created an alcoholic.
I will prove it to you. Just give me some time. And he walks back to the campfire, leaving Everlast alone at the picnic
Oh
site.
my god.
Just wait.
Wow.
She kind of is just like still kneeling by like all this stuff. She begins to kind of slowly pick everything up and repack it. She folds the blanket up and puts it, and then walks back. Theodric, you see Owen wandering off back towards the campfire on his own, as you kind of just like watch from a distance to see like what's happening. Owen makes his way back to camp, and you can see Valineth. Actually, Valineth, I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
I think we all knew what went down there. Let's see. Good, real good. 22.
Tears are streaming from his eyes. His
Oh,
face
no.
is bright red, and tears are streaming. He's not actively weeping or crying, but you can tell he's putting on like a brave face. He's like, just like walking back, and he sits down in front of the campfire, and he grabs like what looks to be kind of like a ragged handkerchief, and he wipes his face, and he goes over and to like a bucket of water, and he splashes himself, and he just says, "I'm going for a walk," and he exits the greenway to the south.
Valineth follows him.
You do so,
Yeah.
and
He
that's
says to Caleb here, he's like, I don't trust that boy going alone anywhere. He just follows him.
and gripped in his hand is still the wineskin.
I'm sure it is.
That he has, and so he is walking the greenway, basically walking in the direction towards Bree. You tail him for a bit, Valineth. I'm gonna have you make a stealth check at advantage for me.
Oh my gosh.
Theodric would also like to go after him.
Valineth, you stay
well,
hidden.
same,
Would
19.
I also need a stealth check?
Do you want to stay hidden, or are you going to talk to him?
I'm gonna talk to him. Screw it.
So you approach him. Valineth, you make sure to keep an eye on both of them, in kind of like nature and everything for the evening. And Theodric, you approach, and you see that his face is red at this point. Already the alcohol has probably started kicking in a little bit. As he looks to you, and he narrows his gaze, and he says, "I'm going to be a man, Theodric. My first chest hair." And he unbuttons his vest, and he says,
Oh yeah.
"Look! Look at it!" And it's
Theodric
just
sits
one
down
chest
next
hair
to him.
That's like, kind of.
Theodric sits down next to him and goes, "Yeah, you're getting there, buddy.
I'm gonna be a warrior. I'm going to. He looks at your sword. I need a sword.
Oh no!
Well, look, when we get you back to Bree, I'll help you try to find a good one.
I'm gonna get a sword. I'm gonna get some armor. And I'm gonna wander the wilds like you do. I'm gonna slay an orc. And I'm gonna bring its head to Everlast. And she will see me as a man.
Oh no.
That'll
Do
change
women
her
like
mind.
severed heads?
And then he drops down on his butt on the side of the road, and he just hangs his head and he says, "She said I'm too young for her. I can't change that. I am what I am."
Theodric's gonna just pat him on the back consolingly and be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
None of this is your fault. Now that I know, I can... And you can tell he's struggling to get this last word out.
I
Move
thought
on."
he was gonna vomit.
Yeah.
As he just begins
And,
weeping out loud.
yeah, it's okay, buddy. Let all those feelings out. Theodric's just patting him on the back.
I'm not good enough for this anything.
Aw.
And then immediately he stops and he looks up to you. Even if she's not my girlfriend, that doesn't mean I should stop protecting her.
Okay. Yeah, I like where your head's at.
I will see her to Bree safely. Even if it costs me my life. As he pounds his chest, you can tell that it just he knocks himself backwards as he does so, and he's just, I don't like liquid courage.
Yeah, it's not really. It's not the best, you know. How much have you got
takes-
left there, buddy? And I
takes it and
reach
gives
for
it-
the wineskin.
He gives it back to
Fine
you.
in
He
small
says,
doses.
A little bit. I'm not very thirsty anymore. As he hands it back. Yeah, you can tell there's just a little bit left, like a little sloshing in the bottom of the wineskin.
Oh boy, how much did Everlast have?
Glass, maybe?
Oh boy.
Mm.
Oh. Well, how you feeling now?
I don't feel very good.
You don't feel good, but you got all those emotions out. Theodric's gonna down what's left of the wine, tuck the wineskin away.
I think
And,
I'm dying.
No, this is just being drunk. You'll
Why
tomorrow
would
morning's not
anyone
gonna be-
choose this? As he stands up and he begins to kind of just wobble as he attempts to walk back, just kind of, and then he holds his heart and he's like, I think I'm gonna have a heart attack.
No, that's just probably the heartburn. I don't know how much you ate before drinking all that, but that can happen. And Theodric is going to. Can I just sling him over my shoulders?
You do so with almost no resistance, and as you do so, his legs keep walking as if he's walking still. He's just it feels like I'm walking backwards.
Yeah, just try not to move so much. You'll feel better soon.
Why is the road getting further from me?
I'm
And then
gonna
he
give you a
immediately
little hand.
becomes unconscious as he just falls limp over your shoulder.
Okay.
Valnith comes out of the shadows as this happens, and he's just like, "Oh, how the young lad has become the role model." Pats Theodric on the back. Let's take care of him.
Yeah, this is a learning experience for him. You know, first hangover, first heartbreak,
All in
He'll-
one.
all in one. Not fun, but it's
First
at least it's
heartburn.
done now. First
First
heartburn.
No Prilus sick.
Valinith
hopefully-
just chuckles to himself. Yeah.
Hopefully, Syrian overheard something useful during all that as well. Not to make light of our friend's heartbreak here, but
Oh, you know I did.
I'd like something to come out of this good.
Valinith chuckles and he says, "Ah, what a night!" Companies him back. It starts taking care of him, like, doing the normal stuff you do with drunk people, putting him on his side, putting his
Yeah.
leg up. Yeah.
Yeah, we carry him back to wherever he's sleeping in camp.
Yeah.
And as you do bring him back, Kirian, you follow Everlast back. She takes a little bit of time to do so, and she kind of just reassumes her position and has a seat. You can see that she kind of watches as basically the group come back into focus, and she just kind of reassumes like her position, almost like. You can tell like her demeanor's changed a little bit. There's kind of like a soft smile as if she's just like, what the heck just happened? But she begins to eat whatever was left on her plate of the ham. She finishes it and she begins to wash her plate, and she makes her way over kind of to her like knapsack and kind of tucks in for the night. Everybody's still up and cheery and talking. Especially the two who are being really boisterous at this point, surprisingly, are Herlinen and Narvi. The two of them are just having a jolly good time, just like chatting and hanging out. And you even hear Narvi say like, "Hey!" And you could tell he's been drinking some too. "Herlinen, you say that you're a medicine salesman. Why don't you say you just like cough up some of that, like quick, the weed that makes you feel heals your wounds? I need that for my uncle." And
Nice.
Herlinen is just like, "For a price, of course, anything for a price. Like, no, I gave you some of my dwarven spirits. No, on the house, right? On the house." And he says, "Not tonight. Not tonight." And he begins to kind of just like slowly drift off to kind of like a drunken nap, and you hear Herlinen begin to. Narvi immediately snaps out of his drunken stupor, and he walks back over to the rest of the dwarves on the camp, and he begins to whisper to them in Dwarvish.
Okay.
Wait, was he not drunk? Narvi?
Doesn't seem to be.
Interesting.
Can Valinith and I see that from where we are?
I'm gonna have you, because this is kind of happening around the same time that like everybody's reconvening.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have
Okay.
you make a perception check, the two of you.
I got a 16.
I got a natural 1 for a 7. That's 3 today.
I would say, Theodric, that you notice the return and the passed outness, but like as far as like the drunkenness and whatnot, it's difficult to tell if he's just like playing a show or if it's a difficult situation. You do notice it though. Kirian, you've definitely noticed this because you're definitely at camp and this is something like you were like witnessing firsthand.
Yeah. Interesting.
With that, we're going to end our session for today.
Oh my gosh, what
Okay.
a session. What happened?
It was. We went a little off the rails, I feel.
Let's go ahead really quick, and we'll go reverse order since I know Australian and Cole probably have to get going here. But Australian, thoughts on tonight's session?
I wasn't expecting to play Wingman to Owen at all.
We learned how to pronounce his name, so that's great.
We learned how to pronounce his name, so that's always good.
The Irish.
You enjoyed the cringe of Owen's confession a little bit too much, I feel.
That was
You
hilarious.
really laid it on thick. Good job. That was devastating to hear for him.
Sometimes when you're in a position where you're just like confessing to yourself, it's a little bit easier as opposed to like doing it to someone like another player or something. So
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I was enjoying it too much, but
I think
someone
you
was
were.
listening. Someone was eavesdropping, so I gotta give the goods. He's got to see everything that's going down.
It's true.
I feel a little bad for him, but I'm glad we got some useful info out of that about the her missing brooch or necklace or whatever it was. I think that's very interesting. I think she did.
I think she's a vampire.
I don't know about vampire, but
I think she's a zombie.
You've already experienced ghost ladies in the past, so
that's yeah, right.
it's not out of the question.
She's
not
a
out of the
wraith
question.
from the Barrow Downs. Yeah, right.
Right? But I think her missing the necklace, plus the necklace we found, plus her constantly fiddling with something around here, and the rip, is a pretty clear indicator that we're on the right path.
I will say a lot of really good rules have led you guys to this point, so
I do feel that the dwarves have something to do with this. I feel like they're not just... I don't know. They could be a red herring. I don't know. I don't know. It was a good session. I think we really got some cool stuff done. I did not expect us to have to set up a date for Owen.
I didn't
I'm
expect
glad we
that was
did.
going to happen
It was
either.
funny. It was funny. Yeah, it was a very good session.
Sometimes you got to have them like this. I know.
Right.
It's like we were mentioning before the stream that it's like Theodric hasn't seen any combat in the company yet, and it looks like that's continuing. You're just combating
what it is.
emotions at this point.
Yeah, he's dealing with emotional combat, and Owen just took some serious damage.
Yep.
I
Went
mean, it
unconscious.
makes sense.
He went unconscious.
Oh yeah,
I feel like Lord of the Rings is not necessary. Weirdly, it's known for its combat, but like the percentage of combat to other stuff in Lord of the Rings.
Epic
is, like,
cinematics. The movies will do that to you. They'll trick you.
Yeah.
right.
But like Two Towers, there's almost like no combat.
There's literally
That
the
whole
Battle of
movie
Helm's Deep,
until,
and
like,
then
the
like
end.
the killing of like the orcs.
The sacking of Isengard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the killing of like the orcs
Like
with
the
like
last
Riders of Rohan.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
But no,
45.
it was a
but-
good session. My current theory, though, is, and I haven't really had the chance to ask Syrian this in game, was Terry Mack what kind of reputation he had?
Oh, he was nefarious for sure.
So he was up to shifty stuff for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. See, I kind of suspected that. But hey, we'll get to the bottom of this eventually.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
okay.
was last sesh the one left to the ethers?
2 sessions.
No, 2 sessions ago. I might still be able to salvage it, but I'm having a tough time with it. It keeps like,
You're good.
yeah, the audio's good on it, but yeah, it's rough. I might end up just having to
Yeah, I'll
put,
just
like,
get you. Maybe we can make it like an overlay or something.
yeah, just put that on top because the audio's fine. It's the visuals that are rough. So.
The nice thing is there
Yeah.
wasn't really much. I mean, there's like this image.
Yeah, because it was literally just us
Yeah.
role playing out the Forsaken Inn.
Mhm.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
I did feel bad that Jack didn't know people called it that.
Eh,
It is what it
He
is.
deserves
you
it.
probably
He doesn't
forgot
do
already.
anything.
Yeah. What happened this morning?
But no, I did appreciate everything we got done today. It was good.
Cole, your thoughts on today?
Yeah, it was fun. Learned a lot of things, I feel like. She's my number one suspect now. She's sus as heck. Valinith, did I miss? Did Valinith like check her out and she wasn't like dark or whatever?
Well, I rolled terribly, so she
Oh.
could be, but
Alright.
it was a real bad roll. I think it was like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
4 or something.
Got it. Yeah, there's something going on there. There's something going on there, and there's so many clues, and I don't know how to put them together right now. I'm also like, at what point do we just like bring her to trial and be like,
Confront her.
here's this brooch?
See if she floats or like really small rocks or
Yeah, exactly.
Just straight up, she's a witch.
She's
Yep.
a witch.
Maybe she is the
Some
herring,
sort.
and you have to cut down
Yeah.
the largest tree in the forest with her.
But no, I mean, it was I did not expect it to go the way it did. Also, the dwarves being like, help.
Yeah, indentured
I was like,
servant
oh.
dwarves.
We're slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I'm also trying to figure out how to go about helping them. Currently don't have many ideas about that, but
Maybe it's
Kinda
worth
hoping
having a
it's gonna be like a-
conversation with a Mirabar.
yeah, for sure. But anyway, yeah, lots of I think yeah, very entertaining with the breakup or the not whatever it's called.
The
Didn't even
rejection.
Failed rejection.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I feel like there was a lot of things that are set up that I'm now very interested to see what happens next session. So
We could have gone on for a little bit, but I felt like this was a good stopping point.
no, and I was about to say I probably got to get going here. I have work in the morning, but
Yep. No worries, no
Yeah.
worries. But anything else to add before we jump to Dane?
nope, that's it. And I'll probably jump off here as well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cole.
Have a good night,
Appreciate
y'all.
it.
See you,
Yeah.
Carl.
Fun night. See you guys.
Yeah,
Dane,
it
your
was
thoughts.
a session. A lot was said and a lot happened. And I enjoyed being part of it, even though it was secondhand cringe. No, I mean, I'm actually very curious. I mean, all that was said before, but I'm very curious about the dwarves. Like, it seems like they're about to make their move on abandoning this caravan. And what we do, we don't know. Because obviously, Theodric, Calafir, and Valinith know nothing about the indentured servitude. So if they make a move, I'm very curious on how we're going to act unless word gets to us about it. But either way, it'll be interesting. I think this next opening part of the next session is going to be quite a lot happening. Quite a lot happening. We'll see though. I liked it. It was good. Lots of really good. I think again, I didn't roll too well, but we rolled well on the checks that we needed to roll well on, and I think we have enough information. Like Cole, I think number one suspect is Everlast for sure. Whether or not it's intentional or not. I feel like she's like not a witch per se, but she's got something. There's something spiritual going on with her that needs to be exercised out of her for something. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious to learn more. I'm curious if we do get to Bree next session, which seems like we're gonna, how things are gonna change with that, and then the brooch. We need to figure out and see if it actually is Everlast's brooch, because that is the evidence that we need to know that it was her who killed it. My theory is he was being what's his name, the ranger,
Terry Mack.
Terry Mack. Yeah, that Terry Mack was being dubious and like snuck up and was just like, I want that brooch, that thing's fancy, and he grabbed it and tried to like rip it off of her. That's why it's ripped, and took it, and then he was stabbed in the neck by spirits and then thrown down a well. That's why it only took 15 minutes and why they weren't dubious, because the spirits did it.
At the same time, I'm also just like,
Yeah.
why didn't she just say that if that's what happened? Just like the guy tried to rob her or grab her or something, and she knifed him in self-defense. Like, nobody would bat an
Yeah.
eye at that.
No, I know, but she's also
Right.
weird.
I know, but the guy had a bad reputation, so
He did.
I
yeah.
killed a criminal.
yeah,
I
everyone would
killed
be
the
like,
criminal.
No, that fits.
Yeah, it's like, and you've been caught with the candlestick in the library barrel asks, how do you explain yourself now?
Right?
Blunt force trauma, I'm telling you.
Blunt force trauma. Neck to the neck, or knife to the neck, and falling down a well. No, it'll be interesting though. Yeah, right. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen because again, we didn't find footprints around it, so it's weird. It's strange. Or maybe, for example, I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, maybe he grabbed it and he stole it from her, and that's why she was traumatized. Like, oh, I've been traumatized, and then they went back inside after it, and then something inside the brooch was spiritual and took him over. Maybe he got possessed and he fell down the well because it was only his footprints that we found. I don't know what's going on. We got to figure things out.
Right.
It's weird. Those are my thoughts though. They're
Lots
good.
of questions in need of answers, which our answers will maybe come to fruition next session. Speaking of which, our next session for Adventures in Middle-earth is going to be, let me pull up my calendar, the 1st of,
April
I guess the
Fools.
2nd for us here in the East, but the 1st/2nd of April is going to be our April Fool's Day streams. So it'll be good.
I like
Yeah,
it.
so 2 weeks. It'll be then, and then we will continue on with this adventure. So this is our last one in March. Dane, do you have anything to say before we do officially peace out for the night?
Yeah, a couple quick things. We have a sponsored, amazing sponsor, Dice Snacky. They're Japanese sweets and luxury treats company, free international shipping. If you guys do decide to order from them, make sure to mention that Forge sent you, or I came from Fantasy Forge. That's how we get the referrals to be able to give away a box. Speaking of which, Australian won the most recent raffle for that, so that's freaking sick.
Did you ever?
How was that?
delicious.
Was that good?
Yeah, I got it. It was delicious. I especially
Was
like
there-
all of the matcha stuff. A lot of matcha
I
and
love
like this.
matcha.
I don't know exactly what it was. It was like a toffee, like a
Oh.
delicious like latte toffee, I guess. I don't know. It
Kinda
was
like
very
that.
good.
Is there anything that was just like, I tried it and I tried it?
I kind of felt that way about Pocky, mostly because we have it over here in Australia, and you know,
And
you
that's
can get it
that's
from
another
convenience
pitch.
stores.
They don't just give you Pocky and Kit Kats.
Exactly,
They give
exactly.
you they give you the
That
actual
said-
things that Japanese people eat.
They did give me a matcha Kit Kat, which we don't have them over here, obviously. That was delicious. The matcha Kit Kats were chef's kiss. They were brilliant.
Yeah, I like matcha flavor, especially like during, I think matcha season's kind of weird in Japan because like everything is seasonal in Japan, and so like I guess it depends on like when like you order your boxes, like you get something different. Like right now we're in like the very beginning of like sakura season, I guess. So there's like sakura like flavored like everything, which is not my favorite because it tends to be like strawberry or like cherry, and I don't like that stuff. So, but like matcha is weird because it has like a double like purpose. It's like January and then also like June.
May.
Like May and
Yeah, May
June
and
are like
June.
matcha seasons in Japan.
Okay.
So you'll find like a lot of like that kind of stuff here. But outside of it, like, yeah, I would say probably the most boring for like Japanese snacks, at least in my opinion, is probably like midsummer, like July. And then like you start to move into a kind of like festival season, and then it gets like really like the food is like very much like omatsuri like snack. Like you get like takoyaki flavored like chips, or like onigiri, like lots of that kind of stuff. Lots of like dango. So like if you got like maybe like their like omakase Lux box, which has traditional Japanese snacks, like that's a big time for that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually what was it, a little while ago, Dane sent me a omakase Lux box from that, and I like love traditional Japanese snacks, and it was just the best. Even living in Japan, it was just like the best, like such a great excitement.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Like it really is awesome, especially if you can't afford to travel to Japan, or like you're just curious what kind of snacks Japanese people eat. Dice Snacky's wonderful because again, free international shipping, so you're not having to pay the crazy exorbitant prices of that. But also it's very affordable and it's very good. It's very unique compared to a lot of other Japanese snack boxes. But again, make sure to mention that Fantasy Forge sent you. That's how we get the credit, and that's how we are able to give away boxes on the channel for free. So we've already given 2 of those away. There's like other ways to be able to support Everlast specifically. Again, our game created by Kyle here at Fantasy Forge Studios. The tabletop RPG in particular, although it goes into the card game, which we'll talk a little bit about. We talked a lot at the beginning, but we'll talk a little bit about it at the end here. But we have Fragrances of the Realm and Coffee of the Realm. So they're Everlast themed, I guess, art, coffee, and candles. They're really good. The coffee has anything from light roast to medium roast to dark roast to decaf. All of them have official Everlast artwork on them, and the candles have a wide variety of different smells. My favorite one is the coffee one. The Grimala Library is what it's... Not Grimala? Not Grimala. Brimberdale.
It's just a library
Brimberdale.
coffee from Brimberdale.
From Brimberdale. It's really good. It smells like coffee. If you like the smell of coffee, it smells exactly like it. So that's my favorite one. But all proceeds go to the Art of Everlast. Again, it's not cheap. And speaking of which, because of your guys' generosity in just everything, we're coming out with a trading card game based in the world of Everlast. So yeah, we have that on Kickstarter. It started yesterday. It's going to be available for a month. If you're in Colorado or in the general vicinity, like Wyoming, all those other places, throughout the end of March through April, we're going to be having all kinds of how to play events. I've been doing a ton of on the ground work for that. So we have 5 events set up where you can come learn how to play for free, and then you get a free promo card, which is really, really cool as well. In the future, we do also hope to have pre-releases, but it really all depends on how well the Kickstarter does. So I can put that link really quickly in chat. If you're interested in card games and you're interested in starting or in supporting startup businesses, yeah. So Kyle, for example, has these are 2 promo cards. So if we actually go ahead, Kyle.
These are the Kickstarter promos. So if we actually reach our funding goal, everybody who essentially supports get 2 free cards, which is basically Hubris Wraith of Malvish. So legendary Wraith EX card, and then you have the Fate Weaver. It's a legendary good EX card. And so yeah, they're really cool. Honestly, like this was probably like one of my favorite arts of like the entire set. It's so good.
It's also the only way you're going to be able to get these specific cards, but there's all kinds of wonderful things from the Kickstarter too. So every single tier that you get something, it's at a discounted off of the MSRP. So for example, the theme decks are each MSRP for $30, but you get them at $25 in the Kickstarter, as well as 2 free packs on top of it, and more depending on how much you end up spending. So you get free stuff on top of it, but then you also get exclusive promo cards of Eklas. So if you've been following the journey so far on our streams of the Tabletop RPG, you can get signed foil versions of the parties from Eklas, which is really, really cool. So you can feel free to get those, and then you can also get all the other wraiths, all the other archdemon wraiths as promo cards too, and those are the only way to get them, at least the signed foil version of them. They will be coming as box toppers,
for the
but they're not signed for the booster boxes, but they're not signed and they're not foil.
Yep.
Yeah, not hollow foil. So yeah, they're really cool. I mean, it's worth the price, but also our goal is $10,000. We're a quarter of the way there to meeting our goal. But if we meet the goal early, yes, we still have a month before it ends. If we meet the goal early, it actually gets pushed to the front of the Kickstarter page, and it's more likely to get funded past.
You get
like
you
a lot
get
in that
the like sell or like the projects we love basically icon, and then it gets featured on Kickstarter, and so like that becomes like something that like becomes like very widely like seen if like we can fund it like as quickly as possible, especially like early within the first week, but especially the first like 72 hours is like kind of what we're looking for that. So hopefully we can get to that.
And when that gets pushed up, obviously we're going to be able to expand our reach a lot further than we initially were. So the 10,000 is the minimum to get the game out and available. But if we can get more than that, then it allows us to do so much more, not only with the Everlast TCG in the future, but with Fantasy Forge Studios. We can make so many upgrades. We can do so much more different content and add content and make it a little bit more professional little by little as it goes. And I mean, it's our first real project here at Fantasy Forge Studios. So yeah, we really appreciate it. Again, if you can't give financially, totally fine. We get it. Share it with your friends. Share it with people who may be interested in trading card games. Again, it's international, so it's not just the United States. It's not just in Japan. This is for everyone around the world. And so if you know anyone who loves card games and are willing to try a new IP, intellectual property, and it's really cool. It's really fun. The world of Everlast is an amazing world. You can go to the website to learn more about it, both the tabletop RPG and the trading card game, or if you just go to the Kickstarter, it gives a really good in-depth explanation of the world of Everlast, the game, and just the trading card game in general. So we're really excited for it, and honestly, every single person that I've shown, including all the stores that we're hosting the events at, they're so like blown away by it, and they hope it has a lot of success too. So it goes a long way just to share with people. Don't just keep it to yourself, share it with the world. That goes a long way. And then of course prayers, that's the most important thing. Pray that obviously God's will be done, but that we can get this in many hands as possible, and that people will be open to being able to take it's not even a risk. I don't even say it's a risk, but be open
Battle
to
of the behemoth of Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and I guess the One Piece card game is big too now. So
One Piece card game. So we're battling those. But the nice thing is it's a small company, and we'll take care of you guys with it. And it's just as good quality, in my opinion, if not better, than a lot of these other card games out there. So take the risk is all I have to say about that. But other than that, Kyle, you will be streaming on Thursday, Friday your time, some Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, the remake.
By
which is
the way,
awesome.
Australian, the ending of that Queen's Blood,
Yes.
I was not prepared for that. Like, I was like not even like in the ballpark of being prepared for that. I was just like,
No one expects it.
so good. So good.
Correct. It was a little how to say, macabre for my liking. Just a little uneasying. It's on the you know that slope, the uncanny valley kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how it was for me. That's how that was. But yeah, so Kyle's gonna be streaming that Thursday Western time, Friday Eastern time. And then I believe Coalforge Great Axe. No, I don't think so. So Max is actually traveling this next weekend, so I don't think they're doing Coalforge Great Axe this next weekend. I'll talk to you, Kyle. If you want to take the day off, that's fine.
I'll
we can just
probably
have the day off.
do a normal stream then on Monday. Some more Final Fantasy 7.
Cool. And then next week, again, kind of a normal week, we have Everlast on the 28th, I believe, the next week. So come join us for that. And then that's when we are starting events. So we're going to have an event at Inquisition Toys and Games in Castle Rock, Colorado. That's going to be on Saturday the 29th at Light the World Catholic Church. We're going to be having an event on that Sunday. And then, so that's going to be the first kickoff of like on-the-ground events for the trading card game. So I'll post that all in the Discord and whatnot. So if you're local or in the general area and you feel like you want to come to those events, let us know. So that's it. Can't think of anything else.
And with that, I will go ahead and let you all go. You guys are amazing. I will see you all on Friday for some Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Always check out our Discord for when we post going live notifications for the schedule of the week ahead, so you don't ever miss a single stream. But until then, we will see you later. May the road go ever onward and onward. Bye, everybody.
Bye.